Chapter 736. Do you have mental problems? Chapter 736. Do you have mental problems? Why aren't you talking? As Ziyao's curious mind was stirred up, she laughed and pursued the topic. She didn't want to give up just yet. I don't know. After a while, Shi beamed a forced smile and scratched his head. Don't know why she and I have gradually walked on two different roads. We were trying our best for our distinctive families and relatives. We even had disputes. In the end, I won. Her family was smashed. They had to run and hide away. She ran to the unknown outer space. I don't know whether she's alive or not. I don't know if she will hate me when we see each other again. You are cruel, Ziyao was dumbstruck. If you love her, why did you put her family into such pathetic situation? Weren't you able to give them an exit? I couldn't, Shi replied faintly, but his voice was resolute. Ziyao was astounded. She gazed at him for a while and then spoke up again. You sigh. I can tell that women aren't the main part of your life. Women who love you won't have a happy future, because you won't give up your dream or goal for a woman. You will never give up what you want for her. Shi thinned his lips. A gleam of sorrow sparkled in his eyes. You're right. I won't give up my life goal or things that belong to me for a woman. Perhaps. I haven't met a woman who is enough for me to give up and forget everything else. If I like you, will you give up all of your desires and hold my hands forever? Ziyao smiled casually and enchantingly. She spun in front of him, revealing her total glamour. I won't. Why won't you? Will you like me? Shi smiled. You are the princess of the dark firmament divine nation, the bright pearl of the raging flame star area. You have all kinds of favors you want. You are the goddess in men's hearts and their dreams. I'm just a weak warrior from a low-level continent with no status. Will you consider me? Who can tell exactly? Ziyao parted her lips, forming a smile. If you can continue to break through, or if you are really related to that man, perhaps my father will agree. Unfortunately, I'm not. I have no relation to that man. Shi smiled miserably. If it happens like that, and I fall in love with you, so, will you give up your pursuits for me? Will you stop your pursuit of the martial path to make me happy and pleased every day? Strange light dots sparked from Ziyao's beautiful eyes. She didn't blink, gazing at him. Will you? Shi suddenly quieted down. After a while, he shook his head. I won't. Anger sparked in Ziyao's eyes. Such a cold-hearted man. Shi just smiled, but he didn't reply. Why? Why won't you do it for me? Ziyao still wanted an answer. She patiently continued as embarrassment filled her charming face. Am I not pretty enough? Quite the opposite. Shi looked at her seriously. You are too beautiful, so beautiful that you can't be true. You are like the most exquisite masterpiece of art. Before I met you, I had never thought that I could meet a flawless woman like you in this world. Are you complimenting me? Ziyao smiled, her eyes as beautiful as the new moon. She seemed not angry anymore. So, why won't you love me? Pausing for a while with an odd face, Shi continued. Your glamour could arouse the deep desire in a man's heart, making him crazy. However, this beauty will give me an absolute desire for possession. I want to occupy you, making you my unique belonging. I will not let anyone touch you. It's like when a man gets a divine weapon he has yearned for a long time. It's his favorite masterpiece of art. Your charming bearing will surpass all the love you deserve. It will make my desire replace everything. Thus, it's hard to love you, you know. You will never love me? Are you sure? Ziyao clenched her teeth as she was resentful. She felt really annoyed. Yeah, I will not love you. I'm sure I will never love you. Shi nodded affirmatively. Ziyao became more hostile. She gritted her teeth. almost unable to prevent herself from strangling Shi Yan to force him to change his mind. In her life, she had met so many men who vowed to love her for the rest of his life and to never forget her. Until this moment, she had never met anyone like Shi Yan, a man who told her he would never love her. She suddenly had a feeling of a big loser. She started to doubt her charm, which infuriated her, making her stubbornly want to force Shi Yan to admit his wrong assumption. Why do you need to hold on to it? Shi Yan beamed a faint smile. I think the ones who want to be with you can fill this whole area, and you should have someone you love, right? Why do you need to get mad at a low-realm, low-status warrior like me? It isn't worth your time. My pursuers are indeed many, much more than you have imagined. Zi Yao snorted, lifting her head arrogantly. But I haven't fallen in love yet. I don't know why I haven't found someone who could make me wholeheartedly give up everything for him. I think I should try, but it's too hard to choose a man. I'm still looking for him. After she had finished, Shi Yan was dumbstruck, his face odd. Do you have any mental problems? For example, you're obsessed with cleanliness. You need treatment. It's a kind of sickness. You are the one who has mental problems. Zi Yao was enraged, rolling her eyes at him angrily. Such an A** shoal. I don't know why I feel so irritated looking at you now. Tell me, why do I want to punch you so much? Well, this thought is becoming stronger over time. She spoke through her gritted teeth eventually. Shi Yan was surprised. He smiled gingerly and rubbed his nose. He kept his mouth shut, not daring to talk more. No kidding. This woman was at the third sky of King Godrealm. If she wanted to teach him a lesson, he would have no power to resist. If he got beaten, he couldn't complain and could only blame himself for being unlucky. At the same time, Shi Yan didn't want to make this woman mad at this moment. I do want to punch you, really. Zi Yao's pretty eyes flared as she was about to attack him. She rubbed her jade-like hands energetically, her face bright with enthusiasm. Shi Yan was musing when he said suddenly, I want to cultivate more. I don't have time to play with you. Then he sat down again, closed his eyes, and accumulated his energy. Zi Yao gazed at him, her beautiful eyes sparkling with a strange light. After a while, she held her flat tummy, cracking up with laughter charmingly. Her laughter was so cheerful. Her body was shaking as if she were greatly amused. All of her sorrows seemed to be washed away. She felt refreshed and comfortable right now. Interesting, Zi Yao muttered as she was quite delighted. Her eyes that were as bright as diamonds were sparkling cunningly. No one knows what plan she had just made. Under a massive burning meteorite in the solar star exploding fragment field, around 10 tiger shark war chariots were floating. The bald-headed Katua was bold and ferocious as he continually thundered in anger. *CK it. Why can't we blockade them? Impossible. That woman can't be familiar with the solar star exploding fragment field's outline, as she has just come here. How can she be able to dodge us from time to time? The space pirates in his gang kept their mouths shut. No one dared to answer. Even the young human man, who liked to interrupt him, had to stoop miserably. He didn't dare to provoke his boss at this moment. When Bloody Slaughter Katua was infuriated, he would be extremely wild. He could even slash the one standing in front of him to vent his rage. Everybody knew this bad behavior of his, so no one dared to provoke him when he was angry. If he killed them, it would be their super bad luck. After Katua had thundered alone for a while, seeing no response from his henchmen, he stopped eventually, calming himself down. Then he spoke up. I think we have a problem. That woman can't be much familiar with the situation here. Otherwise, she would have escaped already. As she can always run one step ahead of us, she must have something else to depend on. The biggest possibility is she can detect us before our operation. She can use soul consciousness to locate us and our direction. My wise boss, seeing him restore his manners, the young human man flattered. If we can avoid their soul consciousness detection, we can catch up with her. They won't be able to run beforehand. Ka Tuo grinned, then nodded. Yeah, we will do that way. Mwahaha. As we earn a living in outer space, what we know best is to conceal our living energy fluctuation. Well, let that woman widen her knowledge of our tricks then. Boss, what do you plan to do? The young man asked. There are some areas in the solar star exploding fragment field where sunbeams interlace, and soul consciousness can't survey those areas. Although those areas are extremely hazardous, our tiger shark war chariots can still stand for a short time. Ka Tuo's eyes rolled. To get that woman, we have to damage our tiger sharks a little bit. From now on, bros, you have to pay more attention. Every time we move, we will hide in those areas. If we don't see her, we will move to another place. Yes, sir, the young man answered, then took out a sound stone to deliver Ka Tuo's order. Something's wrong. Sure, Yen woke up from his cultivation, his face solemn. What? Zi Yao furrowed her dark brows. She couldn't help but feel tired. Recently, we haven't needed to dodge them much. I can sense something wrong, too. Maybe they gave us up? It's not that they gave us up. They have changed their tactics, certainly. Sure, Yen stood up, looking at countless flaming meteorites in front of him. I don't know why I can't sense their life magnetic field anymore. I can't locate them. Are you sure they aren't too far from us? Zi Yao was somber. It's impossible that we can cut them off. Those pirates seem to have disappeared into thin air. If we had lengthened the distance with them, it should have been gradual, not abruptly like right now. Shurian shook his head. I think that the others are trying to dodge my soul consciousness sensing. Panic crossed Ziyao's eyes as she seemed to remember something. I heard that at the areas where sunbeams are interlacing, there are many places they can use to hide away from the soul consciousness sensing. Some warriors who have been pursued would come to the solar star exploding fragment field and hide there. They would rather consume their energy to resist the lethal sunbeams than being detected. It's obvious that Ka Tuo's gang has done the same. Sure, Yen suddenly felt a headache. It's tough now. Seems like our nice days have to end here. Zi Yao discolored. Chapter 737, Outer Space Godlight. Chapter 737, Outer Space Godlight. The purple lightning was still moving in an unknown direction. But right now, Shi Yan and Zi Yao weren't as relaxed as before. They both released their soul consciousness to sense, as dangers could appear at any minute. As they knew the others had changed their method of chasing into waiting and ambushing, they started to get nervous and tense. They didn't talk much. Their hearts were still hung up, as they couldn't relax for even a minute. Alas, dangers came faster than they had thought. This day, as their amethyst war chariot was passing a place full of sunbeams, Xiao discolored while using an amethyst ball to sense. She shouted, "Watch out!" Sure, Yen looked like he was about to meet his archenemy. Boom! From the place where sunbeams were interlacing in front of them, a torrential, surging flame swept over like a mad dragon. It was so fast that they couldn't react timely. A flow of surging energy burst out from Zi Yao's tender body as she released her god domain instantly. 7 colored halos appeared in so many water-like layers, covering both of them entirely. The fire dragon was approaching wildly, but as soon as it impacted her god domain, its special, dazzling halo dispersed, as if it were torn apart. Zi Yao's face was serious. Her tender body slightly shivered as she touched a point in the void. An orange-red light was generated from inside her god domain. That light shot forward, dashing 100 miles in just a blink. Under the piercing power of the orange-red light, a tremor occurred at the interweaving point of the lethal sunbeam. Gradually, a tiger shark war chariot came into their sight. More than 10 warriors from different races stood on the tiger-shark chariot. They were laughing wickedly and oddly. Their auras were all massive. Under their formidable energies, different kinds of energy attacks and seals combined, turning into an energy wave that naked eye could observe, washing towards Xiao. Xiao was covered tightly in the 7-colored halo: orange, red, cyan, purple, blue, white, green, and yellow in color. Each halo seemed to have different magical effects, and the energy they carried was tremendous. Xiao touched her forehead, and her soul altar started to move in her sea of consciousness. 7-colored light twirled around her body. They became denser and purer like the rainbow in the sky, covering her soft body. Standing inside her magnificent god domain, Xiao put on the solemn countenance as she was circulating the formidable energy in her body according to a special power Upanishad. The 7-colored light turned into 7 ribbons that looked exactly like a real rainbow. They then shot towards the furious oncoming energies and seal attacks. When those energy attacks touched the ribbons made of 7-colored light, they became sluggish and powerless. Their massive energy was drained quickly. Shi Yan's eyes brightened. Looking at Xiao covered in the 7-colored nimbus like a goddess, he was stunned. The main power Upanishad Xiao had been cultivating was the magical light. When she diffused her god domain, the light power would change miraculously like she wanted, bringing out magical effects. From some discussions he had with Du Feng, Shi Yan knew that there were some miracle bunches of light in this world. Some were so sharp that they could pierce through any kind of matter. Some were as soft and tenacious as cotton that could tie anything. And he also knew that there was kind of light that could melt things into a puddle. Magical light, also called the outer space god light, could run freely in outer space. Sometimes they flashed brightly, while it was hard to see them at the other times. Warriors who could understand the mysteries of those lights could receive the god light Upanishad. If they continued to cultivate it, they would receive tremendous supernatural powers. Outer space god light was always in motion. It was rare to see them, let alone have a chance to comprehend them. As Xiao's main power was the god light, it spoke for the fact that she had a great luck to approach the endless god light and comprehend its mysteries, which would help create the seal of Upanishad imprinted in her soul altar. As it was hard to cultivate, it was indeed powerful. The God Light Upanishad was rare in the Raging Flame Star area as well. Warriors who could cultivate this power and create the seal of Upanishad were all the warriors with an extreme fortune. At the same time, their learning competence was really prominent. Xiao was that kind of a warrior. The 7-colored God Light turned into 7 beautiful ribbons under her control, entangling with the incoming energies and using them up. She was still calm, concentrating on the space in front of her eyes. The 7-colored light still radiated from her body constantly, as if she were carefully searching something. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A strange noise arose behind her. A flow of fiercely seething soul zoomed over from the interweaving place of the sunbeams. Right after that, Blood Slaughterer Ka Tuo appeared with a fiendish grin, roaring and thundering madly. Just like a metal mountain, he didn't care about the brutal sunbeams and dashed in the flaming sea towards her. Obviously, bald-headed Ka Tuo also had a god domain which was very special. His god domain seemed to be able to absorb bits of remnants of outer space energy. While he was swarming forward, he rolled with him so many tiny pieces of burning rock and remnants of outer space energy, illuminating the whole space. In that fragment of a second, a chaotic energy field appeared around Ka Tuo, including all kinds of energy remnants, meteorites, fragments of bodies, and shattered beast crystals. Countless tiny pieces of rock, dark materials, metals, bones, and wood floated around Ka Tuo, making his aura earth-shakingly tremendous. Ka Tuo grinned villainously while both his hands pulled and tore the void to condense the debris in his god domain, creating a furious gray energy flood. Just like a whip, it flogged towards Zi Yao and Shi Yan. Zi Yao turned immediately, as if she had known of his attack beforehand. Her jade-like hand pointed to a place far away. Flows of outer space god light bloomed from her fingers, fiercely thrusting towards the gray flood current. Boom, boom, boom. Ear-piercing explosions reverberated from the impact of the godlight and the gray flood current. Wisps of furious energy shot out like sabers, which made many flaming meteorites burst off. A dense, burning fluid that looked like molten fire oozed out of the flaming meteorites, showering like a heavy rain. Zi Yao became solemn as the seven-colored god light twirled around her body, diffusing the god domain and covering the entire amethyst war chariot. When the flaming fluid fell on her halo, the seven-colored god light would sizzle and shrink. Your Highness, Ka Tua sends his regards to you. Haha. The blood slaughterer grinned fiendishly. Inside the chaotic flow of outer space, he was like a big magnet, constantly drawing remnants of energy in the universe. Just like a mountain made of debris, he burst out furiously and started to attack her. At the same time, more and more tiger shark war chariots appeared amidst the weaving sunbeams. Space pirates laughed wickedly and loudly on their chariot. Their eyes were blazing like hungry wolves, gazing fixedly on Zi Yao's charming body. Their breathing was heavy, as they hated that they couldn't just swarm over and put her on her back. In this raging flame star area, Princess Zi Yao was famous for her extraordinary glamour. Any male who had met her fell for her. She was the most beautiful woman in their dreams, who stayed deep in their souls. Those space pirates were the ones who had a life of licking blood from their swords and sabers. They were used to slaughtering and being licentious and immoral. They could rape the others to satisfy themselves. Many of them were lewd devils. Zi Yao was the ultimate dream of a man. As she was standing in front of them, she had stirred up the deepest desire in their hearts. It was like they had received a dose of stimulant. They all were madly excited, trying their best to reach near her right when they had arrived. Although Shi Yan's face was icy cold, having a storm raging in his heart. Among the pirate group, there were around 10 king god realm warriors, and the others were at the second and the third sky of true god realm. Such a force wasn't something Shi Yan dared to dream of in the Grace mainland. Compared to those wicked devils, his realm was too low. It was tough for him to give his company a hand. The pirates started to release their god domains one by one, having magical energy waves rippling from their bodies. Inside the god domain, their energy was boosted. Under the control of Power Upanishad, they could create the best martial techniques at any time, striking out with the most lethal attack. And among those brutal attacks was Blood Slaughter Ka, Tuo's mighty power, which was much stronger than Zi Yao's. Sure, Yin suddenly realized that he was useless in this situation. He didn't know how to help her at all. Seeing different kinds of energy and martial techniques rumblingly attacking them, Shi Yan contemplated and then sat down all of a sudden. He forced himself to quiet down, accumulating all the energy in his body. Zi Yao didn't have time to mind his action. Seeing the crazy crowd storming towards them, Zi Yao touched her glabella, her beautiful eyes as bright as stars. Her soul altar appeared at her glabella, spinning and floating above her head. Power's Upanishad on the second tier seethed fiercely, releasing incredible energy fluctuations. Then, beams of seven-colored light shot out like meteors, gathering inside her god domain. The god domain, which was condensed and developed from her god light, expanded rapidly. Shortly, it had covered the area of 100 meters around her. Many beams of seven-colored god light shot out everywhere as fast as lightning. They tyrannically thrust into the god domains of the king god realm warriors. The god light pierced through the bodies of the warriors who didn't have a god domain, dispersing their soul altar. King God Realm warriors who had their own god domain captured the intruding godlight using the features of their god domain. Then, they used their power to dissolve the godlight with different methods, preventing it from dispersing their god domain and damaging their bodies. The huge number of godlight beams attacked Blood Slaughterer Ka Tuo's god domain, which reduced the intensity and coverage of his domain. The chaotic energy made Ka Tuo pause to stabilize his god domain. Zi Yao's attack had killed at least 10 pirates on the spot and damaged some god domains. Without the protection of the god domain, those who had their god domains dispersed had been wounded severely. Eventually, they had no power left, so they could only curse Zi Yao with dirty words and ruthless faces. Tui! Zi Yao spat out mouthful blood, and her charming face paled suddenly. This attack also wounded her, so she couldn't launch another attack for the time being. At this moment, Shi Yan suddenly opened his eyes, with a freezing cold gleam sparkling in them. Chapter 738 Sun Brilliance Chapter 738 Sun Brilliance. The bloody slaughterer, Ka Tuo, couldn't hide his excitement. He laughed crazily as pieces of rock and debris of outer space spinning rapidly around him. They moved like a tornado, sweeping away all the godlight. As those space pirates saw their boss attacking, their bloodthirsty nature was aroused. They expanded their god domains again. They wanted to seize the chance, when Zi Yao hadn't recovered yet, to destroy her protection magnetic field. Nobody cared about Shi Yan. No one even gave him a glance. They all just ignored his existence. King God Realm warriors just needed a glance to see his real realm. A feeble warrior at the second sky of true God Realm was nothing in their eyes. He wouldn't be important at all in this situation. Zi Yao paled as blood trickled from the corner of her mouth. Seeing the pirates striking wildly, she felt hopeless and desperate. She had to urge her soul alter to make the previous strike. Although her attack was formidable, the backfire she received was almost of the same magnitude. At this moment, energy in her body was disturbingly turbulent. She needed to steady her power to launch the second strike. Apparently, the opponent had seized this opportunity. They wouldn't give her any moment. They wanted to subdue her, taking her as a captive. Thinking about this tragic fate, Xiao hated that she couldn't kill herself to save her from falling into their hands and experiencing the most horrible torture in the world. Yao clenched her teeth as she had made up her mind. Once things went wrong, she would make them die altogether. With the big price of her soul altar collapse, she would give them a bloody lesson that they would never forget. But at this very moment, Zi Yao suddenly felt a sharp energy fluctuation, making her glance at Shi Yan in bewilderment. The young man who had been sitting neatly on the war chariot like a rock hadn't spoken anything from the beginning, just opened his eyes. His calm countenance made her feel weird. Zi Yao felt sorry, thinning her lips as she sighed. She didn't know how this man could maintain his calmness until this moment. Wasn't he scared? Did he not see the whole picture here? Or was he petrified? Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Dazzling cracks appeared one by one outside her god domain's coverage, each crack being dozens of meters long. They looked like extremely sharp blades moving and accelerating under some kind of urge. Zi Yao's gloomy, beautiful eyes sparkled with the light of hope. As she was moved, she temporarily put aside her negative intention. She wanted to see if he could cause a miracle to happen. Sure, Yan had many secrets. She understood this better than anyone else. A warrior from a low-level continent who knew how to use the death intent domain and also had the space power. No one could tell how many other wicked tricks he must have hidden. She realized that she had never seen through Shi Yan. Zi Yao wanted to see how mysterious and magical Shi Yan was before she died. The space blades were dangerously shiny. They appeared in dozens and became faster and agile shortly. They were like the sharpest weapons that could cut and slash everything, expanding outside her god domain. Shi Yan stood up next to her, as a cruel, bloody scent diffused from his body. Instantly his eyes became blood red, which could send shivers down people's spines. The space pirates hadn't approached Zi Yao's god domain, yet they found something strange, screaming in panic. The space blades curved and then thrust into their god domains. Shortly, the different god domains were split apart. The warriors hit by the space blades had their bodies cut off without bleeding, dying on the spot. Even the King God Realm warriors got their limbs cut off if they couldn't dodge those brutal space blades on time. Their armor and secret treasures were all ineffective. Zi Yao's eyes brightened. She was excited as light bloomed gloriously on her face. Sun brilliance! Shi Yan touched his glabella, and the star power Upanishad turned into a flood current, gushing out of his soul altar. Wherever his power Upanishad passed through, sunbeams shot faster, and the flaming meteorites seemed to be revived. The massive meteorites were manipulated by an unknown force. It took only 1 second to move the giant objects that had been still for tens of thousands of years. In that second, dozens of giant burning meteorites rolled towards Ka Tuo under the control of a magical, unknown force. Colossal burning meteorites that were as big as an island or a basketball court, full of flaming energy of the sun, brought with them an unimaginable heat as they stormed into Ka Tuo's god domain. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Earth-shaking explosions echoed inside Ka Tuo's god domain. Ka Tuo was struggling, his vulgar laughter ceased, as he was clumsily urging his energy to avoid the impact from the burning flame meteorite. Bunches of sunlight suddenly became incomparably sharp, becoming wild and hysterical from the originally quiet state. They meandered and slithered like spiritual snakes, darting towards the space pirates. Shortly, all pirates who came to attack them were troubled by the burning meteorites and sunbeams. They moved and dodged here and there, shouting crazily and indignantly. The fiery fluid from the burning meteorites poured on the pirates, melting their blood and flesh. The sunbeams were everywhere, and as soon as the pirates got hit, they would screech painfully while their bodies were pierced through. It was like a ghost nibbling their bodies while they were still alive. Shi Yan's energy drained rapidly, which was clearly visible from his eyes. His essence, Qi Ancient Tree, shriveled quickly. As soon as he sensed this danger, he immediately sat down and used his star power Upanishad to connect with the flaming meteorites in this area. As his star Upanishad had been fused with the sunlight once, he could use this feeble connection to control the meteorites, making them move in this solar star exploding fragment field. In that short moment, Shi Yan had a magical feeling, as though he had turned into the core of the sun, and the flaming meteorites in this place had become part of his body. He just needed to flicker his soul consciousness together with his energy to manipulate the flaming meteorites. This discovery cheered him up. While Zi Yao was having a bloody fight with the enemies, he had created the connection with dozens of meteorites around them. At the moment, Zi Yao couldn't endure any longer. He controlled the burning meteorites, launching a strike that demanded a big price from the others. However, it also required an enormous consumption. In a matter of several seconds, the essence Qi Ancient Tree in his body shriveled, as it had no beam of energy left. Also, the large amount of flaming energy from the sun his star martial spirit had absorbed was all burned. Now, Shi Yan had only his soul consciousness to endure. He begrudgingly controlled the meteorites to attack here and there, messing up the god domains of the pirates. The flaming meteorites were like steel punches pounding the god domains, while the sunbeams were as agile as spiritual snakes, worming and attacking the space pirates. They seemed to be afraid of nothing. The space blades, which had been created first, took the chance and destroyed the pirates' god domain. Space power and star power were urged at the same time, creating a scene of catastrophe. On the other side, Shi Yan's energy was used up, and his spirit was exhausted completely. Aewa. Painful screams and cries constantly echoed as almost 100 space pirates were besieged by the scorching meteorites. They were struck hard, while the other lower realm pirates were all killed. Only the King God Realm warriors, who had achieved the god body, could resist. Although they weren't melted by the sunbeams and the meteorites, they still had to run madly for their lives. Ka-Tua was as savage as an enraged beast. His eyes gazed at Shi Yan, noticing this low warrior for the first time. While he was panting and dealing with the flaming meteorites, he hissed and roared to threaten Shi Yan. "Kid, I will detain your soul. I will make you taste all kinds of torture until you die. I swear, I will make you rather die than to live." Shi Yan was quiet, his face dangerously ashen. Only his blood-red eyes sparkled with a gleam of cold and evil intention. He didn't care about Ka-Tua, still using his soul consciousness to control the meteorites which he had activated, creating a meteorite sea to subdue all the pirates. Zi Yao's beautiful eyes flashed with a strange light as thrill filled her charming face. Her succulent lips parted, but she didn't say anything. She immediately focused on stabilizing her energy to prepare for the next attack. Cough, cough. Shi Yan coughed out blood, and his eyes became gloomy shortly. His body shivered, and the flow of his energy was interrupted. The essence Qi ancient tree was drained, and so was the flaming energy his star martial spirit had absorbed. There was nothing left. His soul consciousness was also consumed greatly. Shi Yan's soul altar was trembling from the damage. "I can't hold on any more." He smiled bitterly, begrudgingly looking at the bundle of glamour standing next to him. "If you don't have any solution, we will have to die here for sure." Actually, Shi Yan had some other kinds of energies besides those draining ones. He could use the energy from his blood and flesh, and, of course, the negative energy. However, those energies couldn't supplement his space Upanishad and star Upanishad. So he couldn't continue using the sunbeams and flaming meteorites to slaughter the others. It was not because of his profound realm that he could create this situation. Sure, Yan had just borrowed the external forces. This magnificent solar star exploding fragment field had so many pieces of the fragmented pieces of the sun scattered here and there. Since Shi Yan's power Upanishad had the sun essence, he could control the solar fragments in the solar star exploding fragment field and create the current situation. If they had been in another region, he would have had no means. If he couldn't use the meteorites to attack anymore, his other energies weren't of much help. Thus, it wasn't that he was trying to save some energy or being modest. He truly had no other options. Zi Yao didn't say anything, squinting as the chaotic energy in her body gradually calmed down. When there was no energy controlling them, the massive flaming meteorites stopped moving, and the violent sunbeams started to calm down. After Ka-Tuo's team had adjusted their powers after this savage attack, they stormed over again, much wilder and harsher. Zi Yao waved her hand, and the ring on her jade-like finger flashed. Crystals that looked like volcanoes shot out from her ring, moving outward. "You've done enough," Zi Yao smiled tenderly after releasing the crystals. A fragrant breeze brushed his cheek as her moist, succulent red lips smacked his left cheek. "I'm sure we can leave this place alive." Chapter 739. Volcano Crystal Nucleus. Chapter 739. Volcano Crystal Nucleus. Shi Yan felt as if he had received an electric shock. He looked at her with a dumbstruck visage, rubbing his cheek instinctively as he wore an odd expression. He had never estimated that Princess Zi Yao would act like that in their tragic situation. She kissed him. Was it a reward? He couldn't explain her deed. With a dull and amazed face, he didn't know how to react. Anyway, this feeling was so good. Yao didn't have the time to talk to him. Her beautiful eyes were bright, looking at the farther area, while her sole consciousness was controlling the volcano-shaped crystals to attack Katuo's team furiously. Waves of magical energy rippled from those volcano crystals. Katuo felt something suddenly. Scatter! He shouted all of a sudden. It's the volcano crystal nucleus. While they were furiously swarming over their target, the space pirates paled on hearing their leader as if they had seen ghosts, hastening to retreat. Boom, boom, boom. The volcano crystal that was as big as a fist burst off fiercely. The energy it generated was not different from an erupting volcano, brutal to the acme. Those people who couldn't dodge the explosion would be turned into ashes. Their soul altar was shattered, leaving nothing intact. Yao had collected the volcano crystal nucleus at a magical volcano range in the raging flame star area. After so many years of condensing and accumulating, each erupting volcano would have a crystal nucleus. The crystal, which had preserved the fiercest power of the volcano, was urged at the critical time. It was like triggering the volcano to burst off at a set time, creating an intimidating attack power. A volcano crystal nucleus was as mighty as a real volcano when it exploded. Even a king god realm warrior couldn't endure such a blast. Shortly, more than 10 king god realm pirates were crushed into pulp. Their flesh and bones were smashed, scattering everywhere in the solar star exploding fragment field. This attack scared the space pirates. Even Katuo, the wildest man, was frightened, not daring to move forward again. Shiryan also discolored in fright. Looking at the exploding volcano crystal nucleus, a cold current arose in his soul. Too frightening. The volcano crystal nucleus explosion had created a tremendous shockwave, which was much more terrible than the impact of the solar fragments. In the second when the explosion happened, many flaming meteorites were shattered, while smaller pieces of meteorites shot out lethally. Ah! He sighed, his face strange. The earth flame had stormed out of his soul altar without any prior notification. Just like an excited flame, it flew towards the center of the fierce explosion created by the volcano crystal nucleus. He was bewildered, then turned more excited. The earth flame was the most brilliant flame created in a 10,000 years old volcano. After a long period of taking in the power of the volcano, it gradually gained intellect. This kind of a creature was rare and peculiar. Before it had formed intellect, it seemed like it used to be a volcano crystal nucleus. To the flame, the surging flaming energy in this area was the best nutrient, much better than any other medicines and pellets. The volcano crystal nucleus exploded one by one. Waves of flaming energy rolled furiously, creating a vast burning sea that blocked Katuo's team. It troubled them from moving forward. Yao sneered, talking with full confidence. Let's go. Her jade-like hand knocked on the amethyst war chariot, which then shot out like lightning. Wait a minute. Shiryan couldn't help but cry. As Yao was busy with the enemies, she didn't notice the earth flame flying out of Shiryan's body. She didn't know that the earth flame was taking in the exploding energy of her volcano crystal nucleus. That was why she wanted to leave hurriedly. Why? Although she was full of suspicion, she paused, frowning at Shiryan. If we don't leave now, it will be more troublesome later. Wait a minute, Shiryan didn't explain. He begrudgingly condensed a flow of soul consciousness to contact the earth flame. But that B** star didn't answer. It seemed the flame was wholeheartedly taking in the energy of the volcano crystal nucleus, so it wasn't free to answer Shiryan. The massive energy generated from the volcano crystals was what it had been yearning for the most. He would never let this chance slide away at any cost. Yen suddenly had a headache, cursing the flame for being so greedy that it didn't even care about its life. What's going on? Yao was worried. It's hard to seize the chance to escape, you know? If we don't take this opportunity, we can't break the siege and escape later. I'm sorry, we just need to wait for a while. Yen gritted his teeth. His soul consciousness moved like a light arrow, entering the exploding area where the volcano crystal nucleus was still bursting off. Spoiled kid, you come back now or take all these things with you. Or else, I won't care about you anymore. When Yen shot his flow of soul consciousness, Yao could finally feel something. She shouted with astonishment, "Who are you communicating with?" Yen kept silent while one hand of his was pressed on his forehead. With an ashen face, he tried to extend his soul consciousness. The seething flaming sea in front of them changed suddenly. It started to move, and then accelerated towards them. The earth flame finally responded, and Yen exhaled in relief. Right at this moment, a magical jade token suddenly appeared from an interlacing place of sunbeams, not far from them. This token had been carved with a miraculous formation, which was releasing surging energy waves. Shortly, it could almost reach Yao. Yao's soft body shivered as a gleam of deep fear sparkled in her eyes. She hastened to urge all the energy she had left. God light bloomed out from her entire body, condensing into a 7-colored light column and striking towards that jade token. Boom! The jade token trembled. The shock wave emitted from it had smashed the massive flaming meteorites into pieces. The jade token was stopped, and it couldn't storm over the second time. Blood gushed out from Yao's mouth as she closed her eyes exhaustedly. Her breathing was feeble while her soft body lost control. Yen was scared. At this moment, he didn't care about anything else, shouting hoarsely, "Go!" A purple light appeared from Yao's fingertip, then fell onto the war chariot. Then the amethyst war chariot buzzed and glided swiftly over the sunbeams, moving forward quickly. Yen tried to use his last beam of energy to pull around 10 bodies floating nearest to them to the chariot on the way out. Essence chi emitted from those corpses rolled massively into his body, like a furious flood breaking the dike. The acupuncture points from his entire body swelled instantly, causing him a paralyzing pain. Since the earth flame had absorbed the power of the volcano fire sea behind them, it started to shrink. Eventually, the entire sea shrank into some floating flames, which could pierce through the solar star exploding fragment field easily without being afraid of the sunbeams. That was why they could fly rapidly and catch up with Yen, who was using the amethyst battleship. Those flames then lined up and combined with each other, turning into a windmill-sized flame that disappeared into Yen's glabella. After the earth flame got into the heaven flame soul altar, it calmed down and sent Yen an exciting thought. "It's so good. I can ascend this time. Haha, wait until I wake up. I can evolve to another level." Yen was surprised. The amethyst war chariot continued to accelerate crazily. Besides Yao, who was fainted next to Yen, there were 9 corpses of the space pirates. Those people were killed by Yao's god, Light, not too long ago. Yen could tell it from the holes on their bodies. They included 8 people at the 2nd and 3rd sky of True God Realm, and 1 at the King God Realm. The massive essence chi from that King God Realm warrior was equal to the amount Yen could get from the other 8 warriors. It was so abundant that it surprised Yen a lot. The amethyst war chariot was running wildly, agilely, and swiftly, worming through the sunbeams like lightning. Behind him, the space pirates were shouting and cursing. Their eyes were bloodshot as they still wanted to storm over and kill them all. However, their tiger shark chariots weren't as fast as the amethyst chariot. No matter how hard they tried, they couldn't catch up with it. Yen concentrated on the jade token that appeared the last. That jade token had appeared at the most critical time. With only one strike, it had hurt Ziyao badly, directly putting her into a coma. Shi Yan knew that jade token was the fatal attack. Perhaps the one who controlled that jade token had a stronger cultivation base than Katuo's. The one who controlled that jade token must have been hiding in the place where the sunbeams were interlacing for a long time for that fatal strike. That person was the most dangerous factor of this hunting operation. Perhaps he knew Ziyao personally. Otherwise, he wouldn't have hidden from the beginning. He clearly didn't dare to show his face. He had been waiting persistently, depending on the magical and dangerous feature of the sunbeam interlacing area to avoid people's soul consciousness from sensing. This person was much more dangerous than those space pirates. When Shi Yan turned around to check it, the jade token had disappeared into thin air, leaving no trace. It was possible that the owner had retrieved it. That person was still hiding on his spot. If he didn't show up, he seemed to be afraid of something. The war chariot flew forward at max speed. Shi Yan gradually pulled himself together. While absorbing the enormous essence qi, Shi Yan checked Ziyao's wounds with a solemn countenance. She was still breathing, and her soul altar still existed. However, Shi Yan found an unknown force, which was constantly destroying her vitality, fighting against the energies inside her body. After Shi Yan had sensed it for a while, he paled, his eyes full of cold intent. That unknown energy, flow, seemed to be taking the upper hand. During its battle with the energies inside Ziyao's body, it could drain her energy continually. When Ziyao's energy was emptied out, that flow of energy would cut off all of her vitality. At least, it would be able to destroy her god body. But that was not what scared him the most. Shi Yan could sense a soul destroying power within that unknown energy as well. In other words, after it destroyed Ziyao's god body, it would storm into her sea of consciousness and smash down her soul's sacrificial altar. The one who had cast this technique truly wanted to take Ziyao's life, leaving her no hope or way to revive. Chapter 740. Can't choose the right way because of the flurry. Chapter 740. Can't choose the right way because of the flurry. Ka-Tuo's space pirates strode angrily, but the amethyst war chariot had soon disappeared from their sight. Bloody slaughterer Ka-Tuo stopped and gritted his teeth, his face gloomy and cruel as he stood on the tiger-shark war chariot. Many tiger-shark chariots came over. The young human guy said with a bitter face, "Boss, what should we do now?" "What should we do?" Ka-Tuo grinned, madness sparkling clearly in his eyes. "Do you need me to teach you what to do next?" "Scatter and block them. We're familiar with this area. If we can block them once, we can do it the second time." The young man was shaken, nodding his head continually. "I got it. Get the F*CK out there. Move. Now." Bloody slaughterer Ka-Tuo cursed, but he didn't move to chase the others. Quite the contrary, he flew back to the place where the battle was the fiercest. Those space pirates didn't dare to discuss more. They continued their operation once they confirmed what to do next. Soon, Ka-Tuo went to the area where the jade token appeared. He pulled himself together, hesitated for a while, then bowed slightly. "Don't worry, I will fulfill what I've agreed with you. Although they can run away now, it doesn't mean they can leave the solar star exploding fragment field alive. I assure you that." A soul thought was sent to him from where the sunbeams were interweaving. "Don't fail me." Ka-Tuo bent his body, continually assuring the other. "Yeah, I know the reputation of the name Bloody Slaughterer Ka-Tuo. I know that you won't skirt what you have agreed upon midway." That voice was icy cold and evil. "You will receive your payment fully. Go chase them. When you can locate them, tell me before you try to attack them." "Got it," Ka-Tuo replied solemnly. "It's good that you understand. I don't require many things. I'm waiting for your good news. Now go." "All right." Katua didn't linger. He turned around and left, disappearing from this area. A light flashed in that area where the fatal sunbeams were interweaving. That light flickered once and then disappeared into the void. Shi Yan sat neatly on the amethyst war chariot. His face was cold, but there was a gleam of hurry in his eyes. Zi Yao's breathing was becoming weaker. The unknown force in her body had dominated her own energies and was about to dissolve all of her energies. When the energy in her body disappeared completely, her god body would be damaged totally. At that time, that unknown energy would storm into her sea of consciousness and destroy her soul altar, which would result in the death of her both god body and god soul. It wasn't the result he wanted to see. He wanted to help Zi Yao destroy that flow of energy. However, his situation wasn't different from hers. The essence qi of his entire body had been emptied out, and, since his negative energy had the evil effect of destroying vitality, he didn't dare to use it. So, Shi Yan had no solution for her. As soon as he had taken in the massive essence qi, it surged madly in the acupuncture points of his entire body, making him hot and agitated. Under this state, he was in danger as well. They needed to get to a safe area first. Only when he could covert the essence qi and restore his power could he help Zi Yao and heal her wounds. During the conversion process, he would be exhausted, powerless, and pretty uncomfortable. At this moment, if some warriors came to kill them, Shi Yan wouldn't be able to do anything. He thought and thought. Different ideas flashed in his head as he was trying to solve this problem. If Katua could block them once, he could always do it again. The first thing to do was to escape Katuo's gang, even if for just a while. He needed time to recover his power. The first place that popped up in his mind was the center area of the sunbeam field. Pondering for a while, Shi Yan prepared to move. Zi Yao had told him how to control the amethyst war chariot. As long as the chariot accepted him, he could drive the chariot with only a flow of soul consciousness. Zi Yao's soul consciousness left in the chariot was drained fast. Gradually, the war chariot didn't move under the set direction. Shi Yan understood that Zi Yao was in a critical moment and couldn't control the chariot any longer. Hesitating for a while, he pressed a corner of the chariot, releasing his soul consciousness. A flow of pure soul consciousness was poured into the chariot. In the next moment, he became the owner of the chariot. From this moment, he could drive it easily. His soul consciousness showed the way, and the chariot flew in the direction he wanted. It was magical and so convenient. The war chariot immediately changed its direction, heading towards a bunch of sunbeams. Shortly, he appeared in a sea of light. The dense, flaming energy here had magical energy waves that pulsed continually. The scorching, piercing power covered the war chariot entirely, including Zi Yao and Shi Yan. Inside the solar star exploding fragment field, Shi Yan had a glimpse of the sun's mysteries. Immersing in this sea of sunbeams, he had used the solar essence in his soul altar to make a resonating movement with the solar energy around him. Under that magical energy ripple, he felt warm instead of feeling annoyed, as his star martial spirit quickly absorbed the flaming energy of the sun, which refreshed him a lot. The power Upanishad he had learned was marvelous. The star and sun energy would fuse into one kind of energy in his body. As long as he could understand all the mysteries of the sun and stars, he could freely use these two powers, storing them in his body and then turning them into his formidable attacks. In a short while, he felt much better. His star martial spirit became calm, slowly taking in the flaming energy of the sun. However, Zi Yao wasn't so comfortable. Many bubbles appeared on her appealing, perfect body. Her body had activated the 7-colored godlight automatically to resist the scorching energy from the sun. Thus, the unknown force wreaking havoc in her body became more furious. The corpses he had dragged into the chariot were melted into puddles of blood. Even the amethyst war chariot was melted bit by bit. It seemed like it couldn't withstand the sun essence at the place where the sunbeams were gathering for a long time. After being astounded for a while, he decided to leave. He urged the amethyst for the second time. From this place, he had used his soul consciousness to find the perilous areas. As he couldn't stay for a long time in the area of the sunbeams, it was a headache for him. This meant that he had no moment of safety to restore his energy. Also, it meant that the space pirates would come for them at any minute. He had to move non-stop, finding a new area, an area that was safe for him and Xiao, where they didn't need to worry about the space pirates. His soul consciousness was patrolling in the area which had the most sunbeams gathering. He was interested in the dangerous areas. The more dangerous it was, the relatively safer it would be for them for the time being. So, Shi Yan was driving the amethyst chariot while seeking the particularly perilous areas. The information of a mysteriously wicked energy field was sent to his sea of consciousness. Energy waves rippled and surged vehemently in that area, creating many energy storms. They ushered chaos everywhere, as if they could devour everything that was alive. It was the place every warrior who came to this solar star, exploding fragment, field wanted to dodge proactively. No one would dare to intrude. But he was different. In such dangerous circumstances, Shi Yan wanted to go to the place people were afraid of the most. Shortly, Shi Yan made up his mind. He drove the war chariot, discreetly heading towards the scorching center. The war chariot slowed down in that area, as it had to move carefully to avoid the energy fluctuations that could even destroy his god soul. Shi Yan didn't dare to relax his nerves, controlling the amethyst war chariot while inching forward. Crack, crack. A clear cracking echoed from his chariot. The chariot was more than 10 meters long. Once it came into contact with those furious energy storms, it was cracked, as if it were hacked by sharp weapons. Shi Yan was frightened and became more cautious. He had heard from Xiao that the amethyst used to build this war chariot was an especially rigid material that even a king god realm warrior couldn't break with only his muscle strength. When the energy storm in this area touched the amethyst chariot, the chariot cracked to a significant extent. It was enough to prove how intense those energy waves were. He was struggling hard to move forward in this hazardous area. From time to time, Shi Yan threw a few corpses of the space pirates to the most dangerous area that his soul consciousness could sense to check the power there. As soon as those bodies fell into that area, they turned into a puddle of blood and then dispersed completely. Shi Yan wore a bitter smile while feeling a serious headache. Looking at Xiao, who couldn't endure any longer, and the extreme danger in front of his eyes, he had a feeling that they were at a dead end. Crack, crack, crack. When he still had a worried frown, an energy storm which was still all this while suddenly moved and collided with the amethyst chariot. Loud, shattering noises resounded, as countless pieces of amethyst shot out from the war chariot. Shortly, the amethyst war chariot, which was inching like a turtle, was destroyed just like that. A turbulent energy tornado was still moving towards Shi Yan and Xiao. Shi Yan discolored in fright. He hadn't had the time to think, pulling Xiao into his embrace. The flaming energy he had just absorbed expanded like giant fire sphere, covering him as they were flying into the unpredictable outer space. Although he had the soft body of a beautiful woman next to his chest, he had no gleam of joy on his face. Quite the contrary, he felt his heart get heavy. The war chariot, called the Purple Lightning, had been destroyed completely. In the solar star exploding fragment field, their journey would be even more strenuous now. If they met Ka Tuo's gang the second time, they wouldn't be able to escape using the quick speed like they just did. They would become the others' prey for sure. While his mind was like a mess, a surging energy came from the safe area they were taking shelter in temporarily. Shi Yan was frightened, as he didn't know what was going on. He could feel an invisible force cover them and drag them towards the center of a massive vortex. He wanted to struggle, but he then helplessly found that his power was nothing under the heavenly might. Holding Ziyao, Shi Yan sank, falling into the core of the vortex while feeling dizzy without realizing why. Chapter 741, New Comprehension. Chapter 741, New Comprehension. Shi Yan woke up and opened his eyes. The first thing he saw was the endless dark cloud covering the entire sky above his head. Looking at the further area, he found that he was in an icy cold, desolate land. The soil here was brownish-black, without a single energy, fluctuation of living beings in the area. Ahead of him was a tall mountain range with so many corpses buried there. Those corpses belonged to beasts and different races. They were all so decayed that they could disperse with the slightest wind. Shi Yan stood up and observed, finding corpses everywhere. This place looked like a sea of corpses, of which Shi Yan couldn't see the other end. This place gave him a bleak sensation. Where is this place? As his mind flickered, Shi Yan frowned while rubbing his head as he had a headache. He could only remember that he was besieged in an extraordinarily furious energy area in the solar star exploding fragment field before he got here. In that area, their amethyst war chariot was destroyed. He could only bring Ziyao and leave. Then, a force dragged him into a tremendous energy vortex, and he fainted afterward. Shi Yan remembered Ziyao, so he immediately searched for her. Shortly, he found Ziyao lying in the shade of a beast's skull, which had a body that was almost 1,000 meters long, not too far from him. Her breathing was as feeble as a filament that couldn't be traced easily. His visage changed slightly, flying out quickly. Instantly, Shi Yan found that the gravity in this place was extremely formidable. It was like he was bearing a massive mountain on his shoulder. His running speed became sluggish. Essence Qi was still being converted madly in his acupuncture points, making them annoyingly swollen. Shi Yan understood that the time he had fainted for was short. It shouldn't be more than 1 hour. Otherwise, his acupuncture points should have finished converting the essence Qi. At a speed dozens of times slower than normal, he walked towards Ziyao. Putting his hand on her, Shi Yan found that the unknown force was still breaking her body from the inside. Ziyao had lost all of her resistance. With an extremely grimaced face, he sat down, pulling Ziyao into his embrace. His both hands were placed on her chest and abdomen. Although the essence Qi in his body was still being converted, he was hurriedly waiting for the first flow of mysterious energy, as if a fire was burning him. Time suddenly became lethargic while Shi Yan was getting so agitated and restless that he had to try his best to calm down his soul to prevent himself from falling into bedevilment. At this moment, once he lost his consciousness, it would be tough to restore himself shortly, and he wouldn't be able to help Ziyao heal her wounds. He temporarily put Ziyao's wounds aside to quieten down his body, sitting motionlessly like a stone. A long time afterward, while he felt the pain spreading all over his body, his acupuncture points started to generate energy. The mysterious energy flooded out from his acupuncture points, circulating in his entire body and then pouring into his essence, Qi Ancient Tree. The shriveled essence, Qi Ancient Tree, received abundant energy and became translucent little by little as its energy was refilled. Shi Yan was shaken. He then focused wholeheartedly on his lower abdomen to refine the essence Qi and pour it into Ziyao's body. He wanted to destroy the unknown flow of energy in her body. However, the flow of energy from that jade token seemed to strangely have its own consciousness. As soon as Shi Yan sent his energy into her body, that flow started to run and hide in unpredictable directions. It could dodge his pursuit and still wreck Ziyao's vitality. Wicked. Shi Yan's visage changed dramatically. It was the first time he had encountered such spooky thing. That flow of energy seemed to have intellect. It could dodge him easily. What the F***CK was going on? He gathered his essence chi. His soul consciousness moved rapidly inside Ziyao's body to capture that flow of cunning energy. However, that energy was swift and agile. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't catch it. It was like Shi Yan and that energy were playing seek and hide in Ziyao's body. That energy had never decreased while his essence chi was running out during this pursuit. His face became grimaced. Seeing Ziyao's life fading away, he had a powerless feeling. Pausing temporarily, he felt the surging mysterious energy in his body. Sure, Yen pondered for a while and then made a new decision. Use the negative energy. The negative energy would go with his death intent domain, which might deprive Ziyao's vitality faster, but still could aim at that flow of energy. As he was about to take action, he suddenly understood something. His face was astounded. Death and life intent domain. Not only did he understand the Death Upanishad, but he had some knowledge of the life mysteries. Perhaps he could release a life magnetic field that was similar to the soul burial ground. When this thought appeared, it started to snowball, and he couldn't dismiss it from his mind. Pondering for a while, he decided to give it a try. When this thought popped up in his head, it turned into an electric current, strongly flooding the deep place in his god soul. It seemed to have a magical connection with his seal of Upanishad. All of a sudden, a vague but marvelous idea arose in his head. Flows of mysterious energy in his acupuncture points seemed to be stimulated, becoming more vigorous. Such a powerful life energy made him shudder. He couldn't help but release the energy as per what he had in his vague mind. Magically, a wonderful feeling appeared in his eyes. One of them was gloomy and tranquil, like death that could destroy everything. There was no mercy, just an unpredictable wickedness. His other eye had a vigorous life energy, with great affection and yearning for lives. His pair of eyes had two distinctively different energy fluctuations and totally opposite emotions. While his eyes had a bizarre change, seals appeared in his palms. Death seal and life seal. Two different seals applied on Ziyao's body at the same time, as a death intent domain and a life intent domain were both generated. Flows of mysterious energy were scattering from his acupuncture points together with the evil negative energy, which was corresponding with the emotions in his eyes and the opposite energies in his left hand and right hand. The mysterious energy then flooded the life seal, giving him the supernatural power of living beings. On the other hand, the negative energy had contacted his gloomy eye, pouring massively into the death seal and fusing perfectly with the death intent domain, turning it into a sacred level evil energy that could kill everything. Then it entered into Ziyao's body. At this moment, Shi Yan seemed to become a god who held life and death in his hands. He could kill a life instantly, depriving its vitality, or he could give the breath of life to a still rock, giving it intellect. Negative energy and mysterious energy fused in the life intent domain and the death intent domain urged by his soul, pouring into Ziyao's body. The vigorous life energy moved inside Ziyao's body, stimulating her vitality and making her pale skin blush again. At the same time, the Death Upanishad was fused in the negative energy that was destroying Ziyao's vitality. Shi Yan observed the beauty in his embrace for a while, and he felt he had gotten it. The life intent domain expanded, covering Ziyao's soul altar, brain, limbs, and the organs that were wounded. The death intent domain was storming furiously in Ziyao's chest, finding that cunning flow of energy to destroy it. That flow of energy with its own consciousness was moving unceasingly, as though it could find the strange situation. It was trying to counterattack. The coverage of the death intent domain was getting larger. Under the urge of the negative energy, it created a mini soul burial ground, which also covered half of Ziyao's body. The soul burial ground was marvelous. It could absorb all life energy and destroy all vitality. Even that flow of wicked energy couldn't resist. Under the miraculous, yet brutal soul burial ground, that flow of energy was weakened little by little. Shi Yan was cheered up, a strange light sparkling in his eyes. While he was destroying the unknown force in Ziyao's body, he felt a new perception of the power of death and life Upanishad. He didn't think much, trying to condense his spirit, soul, and essence chi. With the bleak energy on one side and the vigorous energy on the other side, he used Ziyao's body to test his comprehension. Shortly, the flow of cunning energy in Ziyao's body was smashed into nothingness. Then, Shi Yan's thought flickered, retrieving the death intent domain. His negative energy stopped supplementing the energy. The mysterious energy filled his body, turning into his vigorous vitality, flooding his life intent domain while covering Ziyao's dying body. Ziyao was sinking into the sea of life as her pale body was refilled with new vitality. Her dysfunctional body was recovering fast. Her face glowed again, and her stagnant soul altar started to move again. Shi Yan studied her face. After a while, he could confirm she was all right, and only then did he calm down. He continued releasing the life domain. Closing his eyes, he started to sink into the life Upanishad, wholeheartedly learning the newest knowledge he had sensed. In a mysterious, bleak place with so many corpses and no beam of living energy fluctuation, a young man was holding a glamorous figure, who was truly a beautiful disaster in his embrace. He sat nonchalantly while the death and life, the magical, contrastive energy fluctuations, were constantly diffusing from his body. He was trying to comprehend the power Upanishad, making an effort for the acme of the martial path. In the solar star exploding fragment field, a flow of dark light shot rapidly, carefully dodging each fatal sunbeam. A vague, skinny figure stayed inside that dark light as a cold and wicked aura came from that light. While moving forward quickly, the bunch of dark light suddenly shook as if it had received a serious hit. It then slowed down. The silhouette covered by the dark light distorted for a while, seeming to have gotten hurt. He sat inside the dark light as if he were trying to recover something. Long after that, he started to breathe normally again. A cold and wicked aura that nothing could compare with diffused from the silhouette inside the dark light. He seemed to be enraged, trying to carry out something. Hello all. I just started translating new series and created my own website. Smiley. Feel free to pass by and take a look. Sigma Novel. com/novels/above the skies/aughts chapter 1/ Goes chat group Discord. GG/Fwet4F. Support me at Patreon. com/Sigma_Soma. Vote for weekly rank. Oh hail Sigsama. Chapter 742. Compensate. Chapter 742. Compensate. Ziyao felt as if she had just awakened from the deepest nightmare. She felt fatigued, acting dully as if she was still under the effect of some anesthesia. In her heavy dizziness, she could feel an icy cold murderous intention moving in her brain, attempting to kill her. This feeling scared her a lot. She was trying hopelessly to resist it. However, like in an endless nightmare, she eventually became powerless. She felt as if death was near. Right when she wanted to give up, a warm soul consciousness embraced her. In that robust sea, she suddenly felt safe and cozy. Gradually, she forgot the fear in her heart. After that flow of warm soul consciousness appeared, her nightmare turned into a nice dream. She felt relaxed and comfortable. The worries and fear in her heart were swept away. Her dull god soul also received a new flow of power as she gradually regained her consciousness. The power that wanted to cut off her vitality was covered by another wicked energy in her body, then dissolved slowly. After that energy disappeared, the flow of wicked but familiar energy also retreated from her body. All of a sudden, She had no worries or fear. It was so comfortable, as if she were enjoying a wonderful bath, feeling the vigorous energy rolling in her body. An unknown force was nurturing her little by little. Her consciousness was restored, as the soul altar was moving slowly in her sea of consciousness. Her exhausted body became lighter and refreshed. After an unknown period, she remembered all the things that happened before she was put into a coma. She remembered everything. She opened her eyes. Her dreamy eyes suddenly sparkled as she saw the one in front of her eyes. Shi Yan's face was pretty close to her. His face was cold and somber, with his eyes closed. He stayed still like a rock, as two opposing auras were diffusing from him. One aura was cold and deadly silent, while the other was vigorous. These two auras were opposite to each other, but they could coexist magically in his body, which gave Zi Yao a strange illusion. In the next moment, she found herself laying in the other's embrace. Sure, Yen was holding her with one arm while she lied feebly on his legs. Zi Yao was flurried. As she was about to wiggle, she felt something astounding. A flow of marvelous energy was poured into her body through Shi Yan's arm, which was holding her. That energy flowed with vigorous vitality, covering her like a sea of life. Under the effect of that strange energy, her damaged body was filled with power, her exhausted body gradually restored. The mysterious energy had turned into so many streams, spreading and refilling every corner in her body. The biggest stream among them was moving and pouring into her essence, Qi Ancient Tree, in her low abdomen. The shriveled essence, Qi Ancient Tree, became shining with a supplemented amount of energy. She was sensitive enough to see how great the benefit that mysterious energy was bringing to her. Thus, she stopped, maintaining her position while looking at Shi Yan quietly. She studied the cold face within her reach. This man isn't bad. Zi Yao's pale face glowed, as a magical light sparkled in her beautiful eyes. She pressed her succulent red lips as the quiet lake in her heart was having some ripples. Sure, Yen hadn't realized that Zi Yao had woken up. He seemed to immerse in some dreams. His breath was steady, and his soul was calm with his eyes closed. However, the death and life intent domains on his body were like two different sharp swords. One hand of his was pouring the vigorous energy of life into Zi Yao's body, while the other hand, which could kill all kinds of creatures, was placed on the freezing cold ground. The death intent domain and life intent domain were totally opposite. Both of them continually appeared layers upon layers on him. Shortly, he seemed to become Death, who wanted to kill all creatures, while in the next moment he gave people a warm feeling like the spring breeze, as if he wanted to give life to all living beings. He's comprehending the knowledge of his realm. Zi Yao observed for a while and then got it. Her pretty eyes became brighter. She couldn't move her eyes from him, even just to blink. He has the life intent domain as well. An impossible thought popped up in her head. Now she knew that it was because of Shi Yan that she could keep her life. When she woke up, she remembered how tremendous and cruel the flow of energy intruding her body was. In her previous condition, she had no means to resist it. While she was half conscious, she knew her vitality was damaged severely. If Shi Yan hadn't helped her, she knew that at this moment, even her soul altar would have been destroyed. The vague memories of her nightmare became clearer bit by bit. Although her eyes were still as beautiful as stars in the sky, the quiet lake in her heart was rippling. Her countenance was strangely unclear. She was dazed, looking at the young man who was holding her tight and learning his power Upanishad at the same time. At this moment, she felt a little bit confused. The mysterious energy pouring into her body weakened until it stopped. It woke her up from her tangible thoughts. She sensed her body condition as a gleam of begrudging sorrow appeared on her charming face. Although her life was saved, her energy had been consumed greatly. The amount of mysterious energy Shi Yan had given her was like a pinch of salt in the sea. She still needed a lot to recover, as she was at the third sky of King God realm. She needed the amount of energy as much as the water in a vast sea to restore her power, depending only on the refined energy from Shi Yan's acupuncture points, who was just at the second sky of true God realm, wasn't enough to help her recover. While she was upset, she just recalled something, her face frightened. Shi Yan's power Upanishad could heal her wounds? That vigorous vitality seemed to carry the mysteries of life, which could heal her damaged vitality, helping it shine healthily. Such power Upanishad could appear on the man who has the death Upanishad. This discovery astounded her. Impossible. When she looked at Shi Yan, she felt that this man was like a riddle. No one knew how many secrets he was keeping. Time flew hurriedly. After an unknown period of time, Shi Yan woke up from his realm comprehension. When he opened his eyes, he was startled. An enchanting face was not more than 1/2 meter from him. The sweet fragrance of hers permeated his nostrils and mouth, entering his body. It should be a wonderful thing. However, as he had just woken up from his realm comprehension, so he couldn't react timely. Quite the contrary, he was a little bit bewildered. He felt awkward as he hurried to loosen his arm around Ziyao. He smiled shyly and stood up. Ziyao's face was still normal, still the flower-like smiling visage. She was half lying and half sitting on the ground, revealing her charming curves. A strange light flared in her beautiful eyes. I feel great after a good nap, but I haven't slept enough. Still feeling a little tired. Shi Yan was dull, smiling. It's all right. You can continue to sleep. We aren't hurried. He knew Ziyao understood what had happened. Since the other didn't mention anything, he didn't want to explain further. While I was sleeping, why did you take me here? Where the heck is this place? Ziyao rubbed her jade-like neck. She shook her head as if she were pulling herself together. Her beautiful eyes gazed here and there at the surroundings. Shi Yan's face was stiff. Ghost knows. Our war chariot was destroyed in a furious energy storm. I brought you and tried to escape, but we were dragged into a massive vortex, sinking into its core. When I woke up, we were here already. I've surveyed this area. There are no living beings here. I found only rotten corpses here, which belong to beasts and other races. He pointed at the area above their heads. Ziyao lifted her head, looking at the 100-meters-long beast skeleton. She wasn't so surprised as if she had seen it before. She laughed cheerily. Why did you bring me to this strange place? You've planned some dark things, right? Why did you hug me? Did you do anything to me? Oh. Shi Yan was surprised. He was bewildered for a while, and then said calmly, I've never done anything to you. But hey, before we got here, you bullied me when we were in the war chariot. He pointed a finger at the place. Ziyao kissed him, talking seriously. No woman has ever disgraced me like this. How will you compensate me? Ziyao couldn't hold her laughter anymore. She laughed until her body shook, her eyes watery. The pressure and the harsh situation they were bearing were suddenly swept away a little bit. She squinted while laughing, licking her seducing red lips. Her naturally charming voice arose. I'm sorry. My bad. I shouldn't have disgraced you. Tell me, what do you want for compensation? I'm a little bit slow. You have to teach me. Shi Yan felt hot, as if a volcano was activated inside him. Just make it up. He was shaken, approaching Ziyao all of a sudden. He licked his lips, trying to place a smack on her cheek. Ziyao laughed cheerily. When his lips were about to touch her cheek, she rose a finger, placing on his wide mouth, then continued laughing. She didn't say anything, her eyes bearing something deep. Facing her for a few seconds, Shi Yan was embarrassed. He admitted his defeat first, giving a wry smile and then stepping backward. He faked a cough and then stood up with a solemn face, looking at the further distance. We should know where we are first. We should check this area to know the situation. Zi Yao beamed a smile. She looked at him for a while and then stooped, whining. Thick-skinned. Shi Yan was emotionless, talking naturally. The gravity here's formidable. As your wounds haven't recovered fully, I'll help you. Yeah, I won't calculate our debt this time. Then, Shi Yan didn't wait for Zi Yao to object to his idea, hastening towards her like lightning. He held her hand while looking forward, urging his power to pull her with him while running at a fast pace. At the moment he held her hand, Zi Yao's eyes had a clear gleam of fear. However, she calmed down quickly and didn't struggle, just letting Shi Yan hold it. She didn't urge her power as she let Shi Yan take the lead and leap up. Chapter 743. Vermilion Bird, the Sacred Beast. Chapter 743. Vermilion Bird, the Sacred Beast. Shi Yan and Zi Yao were moving aimlessly in the mysterious and perilous land. Anyway, their speed was just 1/3 compared to their normal speed. The gravity of this place was horrifying. Once warriors stepped on this land, they had to bear a massive pressure that hindered them whenever they moved or flew. Above their heads were the thick, ink-like clouds that blocked their view to outer space. There was neither sunlight nor the energy from sun, moon, or stars. This gloomy land only had rotten corpses lying here and there. They couldn't find a single way of energy from living beings. This place was spacious. Even after moving for a long time, they didn't see where it ended. However, Shi Yan and Zi Yao all felt tired. They had to slow down, using their soul consciousness to sense begrudgingly. How do you feel now? Shi Yan held her hand tightly, his face serious. The energy that intruded your body was frightening. It had consciousness, and it could avoid my pursuit. If I hadn't reacted correctly using the death intent domain to surround it, perhaps you couldn't have resisted it. The one who attacked me is at the peak of King God Realm. He's just one step away from the original God Realm. A flow of soul consciousness with power could ascend into life. This is the mystery of the heaven and earth a warrior at the original God Realm can perceive. That one, I think he's still a little bit weak, so he couldn't cross a further distance or pour more energy into the living being ascended from his soul consciousness. Otherwise, even if you helped me, I would have been killed. Zi Yao's eyes were distressed. She contemplated for a while and then turned to him. If you hadn't helped me, I would have died already. A wisp of soul consciousness could evolve into a living creature? Do the original God Realm warriors have that kind of supernatural attainment? Shi Yan was frightened. In his eyes it was unimaginable. A flow of soul consciousness could have its own intellect, as if it could become a clone of the user? Such a tremendous and marvelous technique was too spooky. Experts at the original God Realm have supernatural power Upanishads, and it's not that simple. Zi Yao smiled begrudgingly, her face longing. I'm always making efforts to reach this realm. Until now, I still think it's too far away for me to ever reach. Experts at this realm are the real characters in the Raging Flame Star area. They are all the freak elders that have almost become monsters. Your wounds can't die yet, but it's not easy to recover fully. Don't worry, I have so many medicines and pellets, so I can gradually recover my powers. I just need time, Zi Yao said casually. Shi Yan nodded. It's good then. This place is strange and somehow evil. My soul consciousness can't get out, and the others can't detect us either. Even if they can come here, they won't dare to intrude. So we still have time. How about you? Zi Yao's beautiful eyes brightened. When I woke up, I saw you were comprehending power Upanishads. How was it? Did you get a big harvest? Is it still far from reaching the third sky of true God Realm? I think the essence chi in your body is enough. The last part of her words wasn't clear. Before the battle with bloody slaughter Ka Tua, she had checked Shi Yan's essence chi condition. She knew his situation at that time. However, when she woke up and sensed his body's conditions again, she found that his essence qi had tripled. This was something she had never dared to imagine. Zi Yao didn't know what had happened to Shi Yan that had tripled his essence qi while she was in a coma. Shi Yan suddenly smiled. What? Did you get something good? As she was moved, Xiao couldn't help but ask. Shi Yan nodded relaxedly. It's true. I gained a big harvest. If nothing unexpected happens, I can break through shortly. I think just a little bit later. It was not small indeed, as he had made a tremendous harvest this time. Not only was his essence qi ancient tree filled with pure energy, but he also gained a brand new perception of the mysteries of life and death. Among the three powers of star, space, and death and life, his death and life intent domain had always been lagging behind the others. Sure, Yan didn't know how to continue advancing this power. This time when he was aiding Xiao in healing her wounds, he magically fell into the state of comprehension. Afterward, he had a new knowledge, which could be considered a whole new world to him. He vaguely felt that he would be able to enter the third sky of true God realm not long afterward, gaining a greater achievement. Congratulations, Zi Yao told him seriously. It's hard to predict things indeed. I can't recover my wounds in a short time, but you have gained big benefits as your realm and powers are all improved. I should be distressed, but I don't know why I feel it's all right. At least, I can relax for a while, and I don't need to plan or calculate anything. Just putting that terrible mess aside. Shi Yan was surprised. He knew she had to bear a lot of pressure. He sighed inwardly. You know the one who attacked you at the last moment. Zi Yao's smiling face changed. Her eyes became freezing cold, sparkling with a bone-deep resentment. I have some idea, but I'm not sure. I will investigate it. I hope it wouldn't be like I've thought. Who do you suspect? Shi Yan contemplated while frowning. Zi Yao gave him a deep look. Pondering for a few seconds, she replied, You don't need to know, because you can't help me even if you know, and it will only increase your pressure. Moreover, I'm not certain about it yet. We should talk about it later. Okay then, nodded Shi Yan. The gravity here is massive. Your realm can't help you with the terrible gravity here. We can't escape this place. Zi Yao lifted up her head, looking at the sky, and muttered, If my power is recovered, we can wiggle and get rid of the gravity. Anyway, we can't do that right now. Seems we have to stay there for a while. You are from the Raging Flame Star area. So have you ever heard about this strange land inside the solar star exploding fragment field? The Raging Flame Star area is much bigger than what you've imagined. The solar star exploding fragment field doesn't simply have some hidden areas like this. I'm not familiar with this place. Or else, we wouldn't have been lost, Xiao shook her head. I don't know where we are. There are many mysterious places in the Raging Flame Star area. Many unsolved riddles, too. There are some places even the original God realm warriors don't dare to trespass. Shi Yan shuddered inwardly, secretly putting up his guard. All right, you can loosen my hand. We shall move. Zi Yao suddenly smiled, as bright as a blooming flower. She pulled herself together and shook the negative mood off. Shi Yan didn't change his visage as he let off her hand. Okay, we should continue to search. Seeing him deliberate like nothing had happened, Zi Yao was resentful. She clenched her teeth and let out a light snort. Shi Yan acted as if he didn't notice her move. He dashed forward with a sigh. Too bad. So many skeletons here have been corroded with time, without any energy remaining. Otherwise, I could have made some toys with them. You can forge secret treasures, too? Zi Yao was surprised as she exclaimed behind his back. I know a little bit. Sure, Yan didn't turn his head to look at her as he continued to move ahead. I made the 3 bone thorns I used in the fight with Demeng. Sigh. Unfortunately, I don't have many good materials. Otherwise, I can try to forge divine weapons. Ziyao was stunned. Sure, Yin didn't care about her. He released his soul consciousness and urged his energy to get rid of the massive gravity, flying forward quickly. Beast skeletons passed under his body. Those skeletons showed no wounds, making Shi Yan curious as to how they died. Far, far from him, Shi Yan could see the skeletons of many experts from different races. All of them were grayish-brown, without a single beam of energy left. He couldn't use them to forge any weapons. Barren hills appeared in his view, only to be left behind shortly. Sure, Yin didn't know how long he had been flying, but on this day, while he felt a little tired, a beam of weak, hidden energy suddenly appeared in his soul consciousness. That flow of energy was feeble, as if something was covering it. If Shi Yan didn't understand the Sun Upanishad, he would never have sensed it. It was the flaming energy of the sun. Shi Yan was cheered up. He didn't care about his exhausted spirit and continued to fly forward at a slower speed. Arid hills and mountains glided under his body. After a long time, his view was suddenly widened. Lying deep in a massive hole drilled into the earth was a giant beast skeleton. That skeleton looked like a giant bird without flesh. All the bones were scarlet, around 10,000 meters long. It looked more like a collapsed mountain fallen into the center of that deep hole. A beam of flaming energy of the sun came from this giant bird. However, it was concealed. If Shi Yan didn't have a special power Upanishad, he would never have felt it. He approached the hole slowly, floating quietly above the giant bird and observing. Shi Yan condensed his soul consciousness into a beam and sent it toward the bird's forehead, where he had sensed the energy. The feeble wisp of flaming sun energy came from there. Wait a minute. At this moment, Ziyao's frightened call arose behind him. A purple light flashed. In the next minute, Ziyao was next to him, watching the giant bird skeleton with fear. Don't do anything rash. Shi Yan immediately retrieved his sensing, soul consciousness. He frowned, looking at her unknowingly. Do you know what kind of a bird is that? If I'm right, I think I know what it is. Ziyao's eyes flared, but she didn't say anything in detail, as though she wasn't so sure. What? Sacred beast vermilion bird. Shi Yan was scared. What did you just say? It's the sacred beast vermilion bird. Ziyao repeated. Long time ago, this sacred beast came here from nowhere. It suddenly appeared in the raging flame star area. It caused the solar suns in the area to lose their light. This so-called sacred beast vermilion bird seemed to be able to absorb the power of the sun to ascend. Since the solar stars were ineffective, florists on many life stars shriveled and died. So many spiritual herbs and plants on herbal stars died, which enraged experts at that time. They united to hunt that bird down. What was the result? A vehement storm rolled in Shi Yan's heart, but his voice was still calm. Result? Ziyao beamed a forced smile. I don't know the result, because the warriors hunting the sacred beast vermilion bird and the bird itself all disappeared into thin air all of a sudden. But now I know it. She pointed at the giant bird skeleton under their feet and countless skeletons of beasts and experts of different races far from them. I think this is the result. The vermilion bird, true flames here. Suddenly, the heaven flames from Shi Yan's soul altar sent him their thoughts. Shortly, Shi Yan could feel the energy fluctuations from the skeleton of the giant bird. Chapter 744 Original Magnetic Field. Chapter 744 Original Magnetic Field. Legends of the vermilion bird, true flame, had been told in the Grace mainland, and each of them was related to the sacred beast vermilion bird. The sacred beast vermilion bird was a mighty existence in the immemorial epoch. It was gifted with the ability to use fire. As the sacred beast of fire class, its supernatural power was eternal. It was one of the most powerful existences of that era. Another legend, which got approval from many people, was said to be the nearest to the truth. Rumors had it that when one of the four sacred beasts, vermilion bird, left the Grace mainland, as it didn't know whether or not it could survive in the outer space, it left a wisp of its soul. That wisp of soul had its flaming energy, but it didn't have an entity. As time went by, it gradually cut off the connection with vermilion bird and gained its own intellect, becoming one of the heaven flames. The vermilion bird true flame had the comprehension of vermilion bird's principles. Weapons forged by vermilion bird true flame would be added with the divine power of the bird. This heaven flame was ranked 7th on the list. There were many tales about the vermilion bird true flame, but this one was the most famous. In the Grace mainland, vermilion bird true flame was the most mysterious heaven flame, as it rarely showed up. After the immemorial epoch, the ancient time, and the antiquity era, no warrior had ever met this heaven flame. It seemed to have disappeared into thin air, or had left the Grace mainland somehow. Heaven flames could sense each other. That was why Sher Yan's heaven flames in his soul altar could detect the feeble fluctuation on the forehead of that giant bird. They all reacted and sent the thoughts to Sher Yan. Thus, Sher Yan didn't dare to act rashly. What? Zi Yao felt something. Did you find anything? Sher Yan mused. He didn't release his soul consciousness, just frowning and assessing the giant bird skeleton as he was contacting the heaven flames in his soul altar discreetly. Very powerful. He's certainly at level 5. His ascension's more complete than ours, and his power's immense. The ice-cold flame sent him its message first. You should be careful. Heaven flames can detect and swallow each other to increase their power, just like the world-extinguishing thunder flame. If he can detect us, perhaps he will want to occupy us. Sure, Yen slightly changed his face. Level 5? What does it mean? We are similar to the warriors, and we can evolve. Heaven flames have 9 levels to achieve. Each time we ascend, we can break through 1 level, during which we will improve our intelligence and power, and the living form will become more perfect. The ranking of 9 levels appears at the time we gain intellect, and then stays deep inside our souls. It will never fade away. I don't know why we have such ranking. However, to have a more perfect living form, we have always headed to level 9, said the 9 Serenity's soul-devouring flame, the heaven flame that was ranked number 3. I had ascended to level 4. However, due to a long time of captivity, my realm has degraded. Now I'm only at level 3. Among the heaven flames here, only the Een spirit, ghost flames at level 4. The ice-cold flame and I are the same at level 3. The earth flames at level 2, but he seems ready to break through soon. He should be at level 3 later. In other words, his ascension is much more perfect than yours, frowned Sher Yan. It's true. His realm is similar to the world-extinguishing thunder flame, level 5. Although he is ranked number 7, his ascension's much better than us. We, perhaps, are not his opponents, and this is his territory. Once we engage in a battle, he can gain more energy support. It would be much strenuous to deal with him. The 9 Serenities, soul-devouring flame, seemed to be begrudged. If I hadn't been confined for so many years, I think, not only would my realm have not been degraded, I would have also broken through to level 5. It's so unfortunate. Are you talking with someone? Zi Yao's beautiful eyes sparkled as she could sense his soul consciousness change. Before I got fainted, I could feel you were talking to someone. Who is that one? Where is he? The soul sacrificial altar was the most precious and fundamental treasure of a warrior. It was the most forbidden and private place. Since the heaven flames were taking shelter in his soul altar, even Zi Yao couldn't detect them. Have you ever heard about heaven flames? Musing for a while, Shi Yan took a deep breath, then focused on Zi Yao. Since Zi Yao was the princess of the dark firmament divine nation in the raging flame star area, her knowledge was profound. Shi Yan thought that if they could find the heaven flames on the Grace mainland, the raging flame star area might have some as well. Heaven flames! Zi Yao was shaken, apparently astounded. How do you know these things? Shi Yan was moved. You know them? Tell me, what are those strange living beings? How do you know them? Zi Yao didn't answer but asked. Of course I know them. Our continent has heaven flames. Shi Yan frowned as he was filled with suspicions towards Zi Yao's attitude. And you told me you come from a low-level continent. How long do you want to deceive me furthermore? Zi Yao was so angry that her face paled. I knew it. You have the Death Upanishad and Space Upanishad. You're absolutely not from a low-level continent. Shi Yan beamed a forced smile. I didn't fool you. In my continent, the strongest warriors have only the peak of true God realm cultivation base. You have never seen a stronger warrior in your continent. Zi Yao glared at him. Shi Yan was astounded. It seems, yeah, a long time ago. But that's too long ago. Currently, the energy cycle of our continent is coming to an end. We don't have even the King God realm warriors. That's why I told you I belong to a low-level continent. No, you're wrong. Zi Yao's face was better after listening to him. The continent you lived should have been rich before. In the time you didn't know of, the invincible experts must have appeared. However, as their realms were extreme, the heaven and earth energy in your continent must have been drained fast. They had to leave to find a better place for their cultivation. Yeah, I guess, nodded Shi Yan. As far as I know, only the oldest continents could have these magical creatures called heaven flames. Zi Yao looked at him with a serious countenance and explained slowly. Those mysterious and old continents have original magnetic fields, which absorb the energy of the star sea for billions of years. The original magnetic field stays in the deepest place in those continents, just like the marvelous soul altar of warriors. The heaven flames are the kinds of strange creatures created by the original energy of the original magnetic field. Each kind of heaven flames have coincidentally or accidentally gained a flow of original energy and gradually formed their beings. Those flames don't have a real entity. Their living form is mysterious and magical. They are constantly completing and ascending. Not only Shi Yan, but his heaven flames in the soul altar had also quieted down, using Shi Yan's perception to listen to her description. Heaven flames themselves didn't have a clear information of their origin and existence. Nobody had ever told them how they were created or developed. As they were listening to her, they were all attentive, as if they were afraid that they would miss some of her words. The original energy is the most supernatural power in the world. Only the oldest continents could have the original magnetic field. Of course, this flow of energy will drain together with the prosperity of lives on that continent. You said that your continent is about to reach its end of the energy cycle. I think it has lost the original magnetic field and the original energy. Pausing for a while, Zi Yao arranged her ideas and then continued. Anyway, I can tell you that every continent that used to have the original magnetic field is one of the oldest continents, and they aren't the low-level ones. At least in our raging flame star area, we have never had that kind of continent. What is the original magnetic field good for? Shi Yan exclaimed inwardly. His eyes showed his astonishment. The ancient continents have the original magnetic field, which could give birth to and nurture powerful lives. It could make the creatures on that continent learn faster and gain more of the heaven and earth's energies. Lives born on continents with original magnetic field are all high-grade living beings. From the primitive times, they could level up pretty fast using the enormous energy on the continent. Their realms were really profound and unpredictable. Xiao took a deep breath and pointed at the sacred beast vermilion bird under their feet. Take this giant creature, for example. No continent in the raging flamestar area can give birth to such life. I'm sure it came from an ancient continent with original magnetic field. Nodding instinctively, Shiryan's eyes were complicated. Yeah, I think this dude came from our Grace mainland. Because in our place, legends of it have been told for so many generations. Ziyao's eyes sparkled. She confirmed immediately. Then it's true. Heaven flames are the strange creatures that evolved from a flow of original energy. I heard that when a warrior could combine all kinds of heaven flames in a mysterious ancient continent, he could fuse those original energies into one, bringing an unimaginable benefit to his soul altar. Of course, I don't know the details because our raging flame star area has never had such a lucky bee asterisk starred who could have all kinds of heaven flames from the continent with original magnetic field. I think no one knows about it. Shiryan was struck as his eyes brightened. He remembered that he had obtained a technique called Heaven Flame Refining Divine Technique from the ring. This secret technique told people how to fuse all kinds of heaven flames to create the fire life, which could burn the soul and create the original soul. Heaven Flame Refining Divine Technique required 3 main materials, including the thunder, which wood, blood soul divine water, 5 elements crystal marrow, and so many auxiliary materials. The process to combine the flames was quite complicated and exquisite. Because it was too difficult to find all the heaven flames, Shiryan didn't pay much attention to this technique. But as he was listening to Ziyao, he jolted as he finally understood how magical and precious that technique was. Shiryan calculated, and he could confirm what kind of a great chance he could have when he gathered all heaven flames on the Grace mainland. Chapter 745 Sun Original Essence. Chapter 745 Sun Original Essence. Among the known 10 heaven flames on the Grace mainland, he had the 9 Serenities soul-devouring flame, the ice-cold flame, the Een spirit ghost flame, the corpse vanishing flame, and the earth flame. The purgatory true flame was in Yi Changfeng's body. If he could return to the Grace mainland, perhaps he could exchange that heaven flame with a good price. It seemed not really difficult to take that heaven flame. The world-extinguishing thunder flame was smashed and banished into another space. When his space power could be improved further one day, he could make that space appear again to gather the world-extinguishing thunder flame and conquer it. So, among the 10 heaven flames, only the primal chaos sacred flame, immemorial demonic flame, and the vermilion bird true flame remained unknown. Today, the vermilion bird true flame was right under his feet. All of a sudden, Shiryan felt that the time he could gather all the heaven flames of the Grace mainland was near. While frowning, he was stunned thinking about one thing. If what Ziyao said were true, that each of heaven flame would need a flow of original energy, should the earth flame have one when it had ascended too? Original energy was the root of an ancient continent. Without the original energy, a continent would lose its heaven and earth energy faster. No wonder why the energy of the Grace mainland had nearly come to the end of its cycle. Turned out it was related to the earth flame, more or less. Why did you ask about the heaven flames? As Ziyao was watching him, she recognized he sometimes furrowed his brows and then shifted to a more relaxed posture. Because the one who's been talking to me is a heaven flame, Shiryan smiled. Yao's beautiful eyes rippled with a strange light. She was astounded, looking at him stunned. After a while, she beamed a forced smile. Your luck is too good, you know. You got a heaven flame. A heaven flame. Shiryan felt funny, shaking his head. However, he didn't explain. Something's underground. Watch out. All of a sudden, The ice-cold flame sent Shi Yan a message. That energy's too hot. I don't like it at all. In the next moment, Shi Yan felt it as well. His sword-like eyes gazed at the skull of the vermilion bird. The feeble flow of energy became clearer. Soon, an orange-red flame appeared. The flame enlarged gradually, and in just a blink it became an exquisite vermilion bird, floating above the skull of the giant bird. A scorching, flaming energy bloomed from that vermilion bird. It was like a change of heaven and earth energy. Waves of flame rippled unceasingly, covering Shi Yan and Ziyao. He wants to start a fight. The 9 Serenities' soul-devouring flame was totally enraged. Although he's at level 5, we aren't alone. Such an arrogant be***starred. This fight's between the heaven flames, just like the battle with the world-extinguishing thunder flame. You can't participate in it easily. The ice-cold flame told him. In the next moment, strange flames flew out one by one from Shi Yan's soul altar. 4 great heaven flames, including the 9 Serenities' soul-devouring flame, the Een Spirit ghost flame, the ice-cold flame, and the corpse-vanishing flame got out and stormed towards the vermilion bird created by the vermilion bird true flame. Ziyao gawked, muttering as if she were sleep-talking. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. My God! Shi Yan frowned, touching his forehead. He found that the earth flame was still dormant. Seemed like it was still in the process of ascension. The earth flame wouldn't join this battle. Shortly, the silver 9 Serenities' soul-devouring flame, the blue Een Spirit ghost flame, the green corpse-vanishing flame, and the jade white ice-cold flame flashed and then disappeared, swarming towards the vermilion bird true flame. For energies of different attributes were activated, stirring up this whole world and shaking it turbulently. The corpse-vanishing flame came the last, floating silently. In just a flash, a magical magnetic field expanded from its green flame. Suddenly, countless spooky, green-colored phosphorescent lights slowly flew up from the barren land. They looked like snowflakes moving upward to the sky, gathering into the flame. A faint corpse chi was found in those spooky green lights. It seemed the flame had dragged the last beam of energy in those experts and beast skeletons. So many spooky green flames gathered and congregated in the corpse-vanishing flame. At the same time, the Een Spirit ghost flame seemed to have sensed something, as a wave of energy rippled from it. Then, a gossamer-like energy that naked eyes couldn't see diffused from the dark cotton clouds in the sky, moving towards the Een Spirit ghost flame. At this moment, Shi Yan could clearly feel how joyful the corpse-vanishing flame and the Een Spirit ghost flame were. This area could supply them a powerful energy. The corpse-vanishing flame could gain energy from the corpses. Although Shi Yan didn't see any beam of energy in the countless corpses and skeletons here, it didn't mean that there was nothing usable. The strange and evil corpse-vanishing flame was able to take the corpse chi from corpses to grow its power. And the thick cotton clouds in the sky seemed to contain the remnants of the spooky souls, which the Een Spirit ghost flame could take in. It looked like these flames had been prepared. As soon as they flew out, they acted immediately, taking the power that benefited them to increase their auras. Countless green phosphorescent flames and a large amount of energy from soul remnants made the corpse-vanishing flame and the Een Spirit ghost flame overjoyed, especially the latter. He was a level 4 heaven flame. After receiving this kind of energy, the energy fluctuation it released had frightened even Shi Yan. So powerful! Ziyao suddenly groaned, even though she had no wounds. She supported her forehead in tiredness, gazing at him with a bizarre countenance. How many tricks do you have? Why do I feel that you always have many mysteries that people will never fully discover? Rubbing his nose, Shi Yan shrugged. What do you mean? Didn't you say that you have only one heaven flame? Why are there four over there? Zi Yao clenched her teeth, thinking that she was fooled the second time. Her young soul was enraged. Shi Yan was surprised. When did I say I have only one kind of heaven flame? Didn't you think like that yourself? Then why didn't you explain? Zi Yao screamed indignantly, her charming face angry. I forgot, Shi Yan smiled. I think I don't need to explain these things. It's not worth the time. You've seen them, right? I've told you everything, but you are hiding things from me. You're too ungrateful. Zi Yao was enraged, speaking through her gritted white teeth. Remember it. Women are always narrow-minded. I will make you see what you will receive for bullying women. Bullied you? Shi Yan forced a smile. He felt that he sometimes couldn't reason when talking to her. He shook his head and didn't try to explain further, shifting his focus to the furious fight of the heaven flames. It was similar to the previous time. The heaven flames had created a separate world that would hinder the outsiders, keeping them from getting involved in their fight. He looked at the sky. So many layers of flames covered the entire sky, just like a massive cluster of light. Seeing this kind of scorching heat and fierce atmosphere, Shi Yan didn't know how or when to support them. Shortly, the light disappeared, leaving some auras that even the soul consciousness couldn't catch. Without the connection with heaven flames, Shi Yan couldn't feel those auras. Sure, Yan didn't want to hover in the sky anymore. Getting rid of the formidable gravity wasn't an easy task, after all. He landed, standing near the 1,000-meters-long skeleton of the vermilion bird. He faced the sky, gathering his soul consciousness. I know you guys can borrow my soul energy. This is the only thing I can help you with. If you need it, remember to tell me. No need. He and I have taken the corpse chi in this area. We've gained big this time. It won't be too harsh dealing with him. The Een spirit, Ghost Flame, sent him a message. Among the heaven flames, this was the only level 4 flame. In this area he seemed to be more relaxed. While fighting with the vermilion bird True Flame, he still had time to talk to Shi Yan. Hearing him, Shi Yan felt at ease. He smiled and then relaxed, walking around the vermilion bird skeleton, admiring the ancient creature from the Grace mainland. The sacred beast vermilion bird was born in the immemorial epoch in the Grace mainland. It had left the Grace mainland a long time ago, a mighty sacred beast, like it had fallen in the outer space, under the siege of so many experts. Ultimately, it had paid a big price of having its god soul dispersed to kill all of the enemies. The outer space was too dangerous indeed. The vermilion bird skeleton was 10,000 meters tall. Its bones were ash gray and rotten. It seemed to have no energy remaining in it. However, when Shi Yan knocked a leg bone, he heard the echoing sound of metal. This astounded him for a while, his face solemn. He gathered energy, urging his power to make a strike. Ding! That skeleton resounded a loud echo, but his attack left nothing on the bone. His face changed, looking at Zi Yao, who had just landed. This thing has been dead for countless years. Look, its bones are all decayed. Why haven't they turned into dust? Aren't they too rigid? He still remembered when he stepped on the skeleton of a beast on the way there. It would disperse like a mass of bone dust. It was unimaginably weak. Even though it appeared to be decayed, this vermilion bird skeleton was still so rigid. Shi Yan was amazed. This beast isn't some kind of creature our raging flame star area could nurture. Its might has been carved in the minds of many people of the raging flame star area. According to the legends, we had to mobilize almost all of the peak experts of the raging flame star area at that time to kill him. That beast was able to kill all of them. I don't know how he could do that. Zi Yao seemed to respect the beast. It's fortunate that your continent is going to see the end of its energy cycle. Otherwise, I can't imagine how frightening it would be. Creatures from that continent are too powerful. They are all beyond my knowledge. Crack, crack, crack. Suddenly, Fierce, cracking sounds echoed under the skeleton of the sacred beast, vermilion bird. Sure, Yen was scared, oddly looking at the finger he had just touched. Oh, sh*T. Did I just activate any restriction? Zi Yao was dumbstruck, looking at the ground under her feet. The ground was torn apart, revealing a large hole. A massive crystal that was as big as a football court emerged slowly. Countless beams of sunlight were radiating from that crystal as the flaming energy of the sun was surging vehemently. A burning liquid was moving on the surface of the crystal. Sun original essence. Zi Yao couldn't help but cry hoarsely. Chapter 746. Power Upanishad Sublimated. Chapter 746. Power Upanishad Sublimated. The flaming crystal slowly emerged from the ground, releasing a lot of sunbeams. At that moment, the icy cold, barren land was filled with a scorching energy. Numerous skeletons of warriors and beasts were melted under those sunbeams. The gray sky was illuminated by the flaming light as the colored light extended everywhere. The aura of the vermilion bird, True Flame, inside the sky suddenly rocketed. Right after the flaming crystal appeared, he seemed to gain more power. In the battle with the other heaven flames, he seemed to be gaining the upper hand thanks to the supplementation from the crystal. In the fierce fight between the heaven flames, outsiders couldn't participate. Even Shi Yen, the one with the heaven flame tear in his soul altar, could only use his soul energy to aid his flames. He couldn't pour his energy directly to support the heaven flames to deal with the vermilion bird True Flame. The fight between heaven flames seemed to have some binding principles. Every time the heaven flames fought, they would be covered by an invisible force, which hindered outsiders from sensing or interfering in their fight. The flaming crystal slowly emerged, as if some force was guiding it to fly up from underground. The terrible gravity of this place seemed to not affect the crystal at all, as it could slowly float up to the sky. Countless sunbeams shone like spotlights and illuminated the ground. Far from the lighting source, skeletons were melted and dissolved, while all energy remnants were squeezed out. Fear appeared on Zi Yao's charming face as sweat dampened her neck. A seven-colored god light twirled around her to resist the eroding sunbeams. Her cheeks blushed like ripe apples, looking extremely inviting, making people want to bite her to ease their hunger. Shi Yen faced up the sky, his visage frightened. However, he didn't know why he was so happy inwardly. The sun original essence looked like a burning crystal, just like the star original essence he had seen. It was the essence of the sun heart, the fountain of the flaming energy of the sun. Shi Yen wasn't sure if this massive essence crystal was the entire core of the sun that had exploded. However, he could confirm that the core of this sun original essence must store some principles of the beginning and ascension of the sun. He suddenly woke up. With a bright look in his eyes, he touched the glabella on his forehead. A flame bloomed in his palm, running into the soul altar in his head. The soul altar then spun in his sea of consciousness. The star martial spirit's mysterious intent domain suddenly sparkled in the second tier of the soul altar. A scorching flame appeared in his soul altar. In the next moment, his entire body was covered in a frightening red flame. Shi Yen closed his eyes as his body shook. Shi Yan's host soul swayed in the highest tier of his soul altar. It seemed to become a large mirror that reflected that massive sun original essence. The flaming sunbeam of the sun original essence appeared in his soul. Each beam seemed to be transforming magically, as his god soul swiftly marked them all. Instinctively, he sat down cross-legged, not noticing Zi Yao's changed appearance. He held his breath and concentrated, using his god soul to be the tentacles to touch the sun original essence to transfer the mysteries hidden in the crystal. His god soul seemed to enter a scorching space where so many flaming crystals were moving swiftly. Between the crystals were many narrow gaps. They looked like a giant formation carved by God, which stimulated the energy of the crystals. They layered up and created a natural spiritual formation, which hid certain principles of nature. He had tested the magical connection between his star Upanishad in the god soul and the sun when he was in the solar star exploding fragment field. When he was in the Grace mainland, he used to fuse the power of the sun with the star martial spirit. From that time, he hadn't been able to improve the sun power. However, today he was going to have a big opportunity. The star Upanishad included all the stars in the sky. The sun was a solar star and the moon was a moon star. They were all considered stars. If he wanted to advance his star martial spirit, understanding the mysteries and principles of the solar star and moon star was a step he needed to take. This Upanishad contained the vast starry sky, with all stars in the sky being his objects to study. Since the solar star and the moon star were the two most important parts of the sky, they were the critical subjects he needed to comprehend little by little. As his God soul was reflecting the sun original essence, his soul consciousness had unknowingly flooded to the essence crystal and explored it. The sun original essence was the core power of the sun. This fountain of energy had been there, carrying the mysteries when the sun was born and whenever it changed. If he could get just a bit of it, he could make his understanding of the solar energy more profound, which would level up his star martial spirit the second time. Of course, he wouldn't let this chance slip away. His soul consciousness flew inside the sun original essence as Shi Yin concentrated to comprehend something. He looked at so many different sized crystals, moving according to the principles of heaven and earth, creating a natural formation. The crystals were constantly releasing an enormous energy. It was just like the heart of a fire. Even if the crystals were draining out, it was still scorching hot. In the sea of crystals, he could feel the power of fire and the heat of the sun in his consciousness. This sun original essence seemed to have a magical life. It liked and hated all creatures at the same time, which was very complicated. He forgot the fierce battle of the heaven flames and his condition. He even forgot his goals and his star martial spirit. Shi Yin stayed in the sun original essence and felt its emotions, its stories. He could feel the sun's sorrow and feelings, its contribution to the world, and all it had done for the world. This world of emotions was something ordinary people would never be able to touch. Zi Yao's perfect body was covered in a luxurious, seven-colored godlight. Her glamour was too mesmerizing for all men. She was like a goddess descending into this mortal world, floating in her sea of godlight. However, her eyes were sparkling with astonishment at this moment. Looking at the sun original essence, slowly floating up, she stooped to see Shi Yin sitting peacefully, her dark brows furrowed. It felt like someone had thrown a stone into the tranquil lake in her heart, causing so many ripples to be generated. She could feel a flow of soul aura belonging to him inside the sun original essence after Shi Yin sat down and closed his eyes. At that moment, Zi Yao understood that Shi Yin's soul consciousness had gotten into the sun original essence, which made it have his aura. He was acquiring the mysteries of the sun in the sun original essence. Zi Yao's beautiful eyes were lit up. She was blushing from astonishment. Shi Yin had so many mysteries that she hadn't discovered yet. The more she wanted to know about him, the more mysterious she found he was. It was like a puzzling mist was covering Shi Yin all the time. This mist was dark and thick, blanketing his soul. It seemed that no one would ever be able to touch his soul and understand everything about him. Zi Yao had a beam of anguish in her heart. She shook her head instinctively, thinking that this man from an unknown continent would rise the high tide in the raging flame star area in the near future, or maybe he would even stir up some earth-shaking events. This thought had no basis at all. In her eyes was even a little funny. After all, as of today, Shi Yan was still a true God Realm warrior, a low-status, pathetic warrior. Generally, he couldn't make any great change in the raging flame star area. However, she still had this thought. With his arrival, Shi Yan would make this raging flame star area turn over tremendously. He could even change the entire raging flame star area's general picture. At the same time, he could make so many experts excited or fearful. A scarlet flame quietly flew out from Shi Yan's pupils unknowingly. When that flame appeared, it released a magical energy wave, as if it had a miraculous connection with the sun original essence which was floating in the sky. All of a sudden, the sun original essence in the sky started to tremble. In the next moment, the sun original essence shot out the purest and scorching sunbeams, pouring them into the center of that flame. The flame then twisted, turning into a wonderful red flame. Inside that red flame, she could see the energy fluctuations of the remnants of volcano crystal nucleus. Zi Yao was shaken. A brilliant light sparkled in her beautiful eyes as they locked at that flame. After a while, she beamed a forced smile and then cursed in a low voice. Be asterisk starred. Still wanna fool me? Turns out you have another heaven flame. Soon, she was shaken again, her eyes getting dizzy. The sun original essence sent out 2 other flows of energy, which spun round and round. 2 beams of refined sunlight were shot to the sky and the ground. One flung to the deep place in the sky, creating the connection with the vermilion bird true flame, while the other descended from the sky, not aiming at the scarlet flame, but Shi Yan, entering his heart. Princess Zi, Yao exclaimed in shock. She knew that Shi Yan had entered the sun original essence and gotten a little of the sun's mysteries. That was why he could draw the solar energy to nurture his body. After being stunned for a while, Zi Yao mumbled, Can't let you guys get all the good things. She touched her forehead as her soul altar rose. The second tier of her soul altar had the rainbow-colored light. It was so beautiful that it made all the other attractive sights pale in comparison. It was her main power, Upanishad, the godlight Upanishad. A small flame was dancing in the core of the rainbow. It seemed to have a living energy fluctuation resonating with her soul consciousness. It was then guided towards the sun original essence hovering in the sky. Zi Yao's god soul distorted, continually releasing the soul consciousness. Gradually, a flow of pure flaming energy shot out and combined with many sunbeams that descended slowly, pouring into her rainbow-colored soul altar. The outer space Upanishad had a similar effect on the heaven flames. God light that moved unceasingly year-round in outer space could eventually gain intellect as well. Zi Yao used to collect a flow of similar God light. Thanks to that God light, she could comprehend the God light Upanishad and create the soul sacrificial altar, along with the seals of Upanishad in her God soul. Right now, she was using that flow of God light to draw the blazing sunbeam to shine on her soul altar. Together with Shi Yan, the earth flame, and the vermilion bird true flame, she was taking in the enormous power of the sun original essence. This would improve her power and strengthen her soul altar. Throwing a glance to Shi Yan sitting next to her, her beautiful eyes sparkled with a complicated thought, her lips shivering. An idea popped up in her head. A new solar star was rising in the raging flame star area. Its dazzling light would outshine all other people. They would be happy with his happiness. They would be sorrowful because of his sorrows. They would be excited because of his might. Chapter 747, The Third Sky of True God Realm. Chapter 747, The Third Sky of True God Realm. Solar Star Exploding Fragment Field. Floating in the center of a group of massive meteor lights were around 100 tiger shark war chariots, trying to dodge the sunbeams there. Energy storms were moving and slaughtering everywhere. Strong, distorted energy wandered about, threatening the space pirates on the war chariots. They didn't dare to intrude, as they just stayed and waited cautiously near the edge. Standing on the leading war chariot was bloody slaughterer Ka-Tua, glaring at the space in front of them with bloodshot eyes. Suddenly he pointed. "Tai Lei, you guys go there and check it out." The space pirate who was called out changed his face, shivering and crying hoarsely. "Boss, it's the Solar Star Forbidden Area." "Stop your King rubbish talk." Ka-Tua activated his god domain. A seething energy wave flooded everywhere shortly. People in his god domain's coverage were all shivering. "Will you get your A*S there?" He glared at that space pirate. Under his infuriated roar, the warrior named Tai Lei changed his visage dramatically. He constantly nodded with a wry smile. The man didn't say anything else, dashing towards the place. Ka-Tua snorted, his brutal eyes sweeping through his henchmen. He suddenly got angry, but he didn't know why. Crack, crack. Cracking and explosion arose from the Solar Star Forbidden Area. The Tiger Shark War chariot Tai Lei riding was broken into pieces. Tai Lei screamed painfully as he was sitting in the chariot. His body was cut off into countless cubes, as if so many blades were slashing him. The onlookers all felt a shiver sent down their spines. Deep anxiety arose in their hearts. They bowed their heads, no one daring to look at Ka-Tua. Tai Lei's death wasn't beyond their estimation. However, they were petrified because it happened too fast. This event had proven the terrifying features of the Solar Star Forbidden Area. Indeed, it could slaughter anything. Any life would be shattered on entering this place. Ka-Tua's eyes raked through his men again and again. No one dared to look at him. They all stooped their heads, pretending they had seen nothing. Wearing a dark face, Ka-Tua didn't continue to push more pressure. He understood that if he continued to urge them, he would make their hearts cold. Then this force, which he had been struggling hard to gather, would collapse. It wasn't something he wanted to see. Ka-Tua waved his hand impatiently and gave a dry instruction. "Scatter and watch this area. Do not relax." Those space pirates felt like they just got amnesty, answering their boss as they scattered quickly. In just a blink, there was no tiger shark war chariot next to him. A flow of living energy was sent to him from a place where the sunbeams were interlacing. However, this energy fluctuation was so cold it could chill people. "Haven't found anything yet." A cold, gentle, and reserved voice arose. "Ka-Tua, you've ensured me that they won't leave the solar star exploding fragment field alive. I hope you can fulfill your promise. Otherwise, I think you know what your consequences will be." Ka-Tua slightly stooped his head, as a gleam of fear sparkled in his bloodshot eyes. "Don't worry. I will achieve what I've promised you. The Solar Star Forbidden Area has buried so many creatures. Any war chariot that enters that area will be ground into powder. I think they aren't an exception. Perhaps they are all dead now. Even if they are dead, I want to see their bodies." "I got it. I will watch this place until I can be sure that they are all dead." "All right, I don't have much time to linger here. You should open your eyes wider. If you get anything, tell me immediately." "Got it." That living energy fluctuation faded out in the area where the sunbeams were interweaving. Eventually it disappeared. Bloody slaughter Ka-Tua lifted his head, looking at that place savagely while spitting. "Damn it, what kind of toy is that? If I weren't greedy for your stuff, your daddy here would flee away. F***ck it. It's too bad this time. I haven't gotten anything but humiliation this time. F***ck." Then he left this place, approaching the edge of the Solar Star Forbidden Area. He contemplated, then released his soul consciousness further little by little. After an unknown period, once he felt his soul consciousness was weakened, he vaguely felt a scorching aura. Ka-Tua was shaken. He continued to gather his soul consciousness and push it further persistently despite his exhausted spirit and consumed soul consciousness. Boom! A tremendous vibration shot out from a deep place inside, as powerful as the explosion of the solar star. Ka-Tuo's flow of soul consciousness was cut off instantly, his face pale. However, he wasn't dispirited. It was quite weird that he seemed to be moved. A fiendish grin hung on the corner of his mouth. Still in there, indeed. I'll play big with you this time. I don't believe you won't get out. The entire place inside was filled with fire. The massive chunk of Sun original essence was spinning in the air. The flaming power accumulated inside the crystal was divided into 4 parts, pouring into Shuryen, the earth flame, the vermilion bird true flame, and Ziyao, respectively, turning into their blazing energies. The flaming halo moving on that Sun original essence was getting dimmer, gradually. The burning fluid on the crystal had also lost its energy slowly, turning into ordinary drops of water, falling from the sky. Shuryen and Ziyao were sitting neatly on the ground, calmly taking in the hot power. After an unknown period of time, Ziyao woke up first and instinctively looked at the sky. The Sun original essence wasn't so blazing anymore. It turned to look more like an ordinary meteorite that could be seen anywhere in outer space. Seemed like its energy had been drawn out completely. The earth flame had enlarged to a big flame floating in front of Shuryen. The energy of the volcano crystal nucleus was rippling from him, covering him with so many layers of flaming solar energy. He was still digesting energy. Some weak auras came from the sky, one of them belonging to the vermilion bird true flame. Due to the similar aura she had, Ziyao could feel it now. She faced the sky, astounded for a while, then turned to Shuryen. Shuryen was still motionless like a log of wood. No energy waves rippled from him. Even his aura was concealed. However, as Ziyao was using her soul consciousness to explore his soul, she could feel his soul altar moving unceasingly in a deep place in his soul. She understood that Shuryen was still trying to understand the solar mysteries. This magical encounter wasn't something he could simply wish for to encounter. Ziyao was sure he would advance one step further after this event. A triangular jade arose from her ring. She frowned while glaring at it, then muttered, "It has been half a year. Time flies so fast. I didn't recognize it has been a long time." After that, she quieted down, taking out a divine crystal. Then she closed her eyes and started to absorb the pure energy from it, together with some medicinal pellets she had. This would refill the energy she had consumed in the previous battle. It was followed by another period of perpetual quietness. On this day, flames sparked insanely in the sky above her head. The sky was the location of a tremendous event. Heaven flames appeared one by one, entangling and fighting against each other. Ziyao was surprised. She pulled herself together, frowning while looking at the sky. Shortly, her eyes brightened. She hastened to walk to Shuryen. The earth flame had disappeared, staying silently inside Shuryen's head. A soul energy was felt rippling from Shuryen at this moment. It seemed there were some filaments of soul energy that flew out of his head to support the heaven flames. Still, Shuryen hadn't had any changes. He knitted his brows while a scorching flow of energy gushed out of his chest, which astounded Ziyao. "The battle's about to end," Shuryen suddenly muttered after a long period of silence. He opened his eyes, smiling brightly at her. "You look good." Ziyao's beautiful eyes brightened. She smiled dazzlingly. "Not as good as you, though. My wounds are all healed, but my power hasn't been filled fully. And you've entered the third sky of True God Realm. You're not far from the King God Realm, I see." Sure, Yen slowly got up, looking at the sky. Honestly, I've got a big harvest this time. Also, this experience has helped me understand the mysteries of the stars better. Turns out that the Star Upanishad includes the entire sky. The solar star and the moon star are two kinds of star Upanishads. The flaming energy also brought me huge benefits. The understanding I've got from the sun will be useful for the rest of my life. How about the feeling of breaking through? Zi Yao smiled. She stood up, walking her slender body for one round and revealing heart-appealing posture. With a calm and relaxed countenance, and no heated gaze on his face, Shi Yan smiled. You are so appealing, such a beautiful disaster of this world. His face was calm and relaxed. I know so many men of the raging flame star area would love to have you in their dreams. Being with you for days and nights like this is truly my honor. I don't know how many people would risk their lives just for a moment like this. Zi Yao's eyes lit up, her smile unchanged. Cut it off. Too many people have praised me, so I'm immune to it. Yeah, don't change the topic. How does it feel? He opened his arms, causing clusters of flaming energy to appear. A flow of fiercely hot aura diffused from his body. Shi Yan faced the sky while laughing crazily. Of course, not bad at all. Each time I break through a new realm, it's the time my soul altar and body are both quenched. Breaking through a new realm means rocketing my power. I think I've earned a lot this time. I'm sure. Zi Yao's beautiful eyes gazed at his body. This time, you've earned more energy than normal people. Due to the excessive energy you've taken from the sun original essence, you've understood how the sun moves. This will be a big help for you in the future. I'm sure that with your condition, once you start to condense your god body, it will be unimaginably smooth. Your god body will be much stronger than any warrior I've known. Ha! Shi Yan just smiled, but neither affirmed nor denied anything. He continued to look at the sky. Almost done. My buddies will come back, successfully. Oh, right. How long have we been bewildered here? From the time I got fainted, it's been 1.5 years. Too fast, right? 1.5 years? Too long. Anyway, it's okay. We didn't waste this period. I found that even though I was a little bit unlucky going with you, I've got my share of miraculous encounters. Zi Yao smiled sincerely. Although you are a disaster, you're also a lucky star. It depends on the point of view. Shi Yan, you must be famous in your continent, right? Otherwise, you can't have so many heaven flames like that. Tell me, how many sweethearts you've had? Shi Yan was astounded, looking at her with a weird face. Then he held 10 fingers in front of her face. Too many, so I don't remember clearly. So, do you want to be my beloved one too? Oh yeah, if you are persistent, and taking the fact that we've been through dangers together into account, I can accept you begrudgingly. Zi Yao was stunned. She angrily glared at him, gritting her teeth. Shoal. Ha. Shi Yan laughed crazily, his laughter shooting up to the sky. Chapter 748 Soul Nirvana. Chapter 748 Soul Nirvana. Amidst his laughter, flames appeared one by one in the sky, descending slowly. The 4 heaven flames staying in his soul altar, the 9 serenities soul-devouring flame, the Een spirit ghost flame, the ice-cold flame, and corpse-vanishing flame, appeared while flying towards him. What appeared the last was an orange-red flame, as shy as a maiden. It looked like a bashful flaming bird, and couldn't act naturally. After the 4 heaven flames showed up in front of Shi Yan, it started to move towards him with great reluctance. A toxic smile appeared on Shi Yan's face. He gazed at the flame and asked, "What's up? Still shy? Weren't you so loud and savage?" "Harumph. I'm the most magical creature in this world. I'm much more aristocratic than you lowly humans. If they didn't subdue me, I would never depend on you." The vermilion bird true flame, talked begrudgingly. Too bad. I didn't succeed but get tied with you. Too bad. This flame's intelligence was higher than the other flames. It had emotions. This surprised Sher Yen. Anyway, he got surprised for a short while and then smiled. Aristocratic? The aristocratic class flames like you are hiding in my soul altar. They won't leave even if I ask them to leave. If you are truly noble, you won't get here. The vermilion bird, true flame, seemed to be enraged. I know you are a fair host. That's why I agreed to put my feet in your soul altar. If you insult me, I won't get in there. Your character is quite impressive. Sher Yen grinned, not caring about the flame's anger. All right, you stay right here. The sun original essence is gone. After I get out, I will spread the news that there's a heaven flame in this area. People will come and play with you then. Be *starred. The vermilion bird, true flame, thundered. Waving his hand lazily, Sher Yen spoke impatiently. Don't talk nonsense. I don't care if you want to stay here. Anyway, my soul altar doesn't just only one heaven flame. Stupid. What do you get angry for? Afraid that you will be mistreated? The ice-cold flame said, We reserved a slot for you because of the inheritance. If you met a guy like the world-extinguishing thunder flame, he would swallow you for sure. Don't babble and be proactive. When you get into the soul altar, you will know how you'll benefit. The 9 Serenities' soul-devouring flame was a little discontented. Battling with you has drained our energy. We have to restore our power as fast as possible. If you aren't satisfied with your lot, Harumph, I'm not afraid of devouring you. Mwahaha, you can help me ascend fast. Hearing that, the Een spirit, ghost flame, also revealed its strong desire. The lonely vermilion bird, true flame, was besieged by the 4 flames. As its energy was consumed tremendously, it became anxious. 4 on 1. Don't you feel any shame? Well, it's not bad. Have you seen 5 on 1 yet? The corpse vanishing flame sparkled. We still have another one. He's in his evolution process. Otherwise, you would be over earlier. The vermilion bird, true flame, suddenly behaved as if it had finally accepted its destiny, keeping silent. After swaying in the air for a while, it flew towards Sher Yan's head. Hold on, Sher Yan held up his hand. His flickered his thought, retrieving his soul altar. I want to make it clear first. Zi Yao frowned, eyeing the 5 heaven flames. She could feel the soul fluctuations of Sher Yan and the heaven flames, but she couldn't know what they were walking about. As she was so curious, she released more of her soul consciousness, but still she got nothing. The communication between Sher Yan and his heaven flames were conducted using their souls. Unless Sher Yan and the heaven flames agreed to open their souls to her, she would never know the contents of their conversation. What do you want? Vermilion bird, true flame, put up a guard, trying to urge a beam of energy. Swaying in front of Sher Yan, it released the burning energy. Why are you here? Asked Sher Yan. I sensed the vermilion bird's aura, so I had crossed a lot of obstacles to get here from my hometown. The vermilion bird, true flame, hesitated for a long time before answering reluctantly. What attracted you here? And the vermilion bird buried here, did it die completely? Oh. I came here for the sacred body of the vermilion bird, which could help me advance further. However, when I arrived here, I found that his sacred body had no energy left. I couldn't fuse with him. I hid the sun original essence under the vermilion bird's skeleton in the hope that his sacred body could gain the energy from the crystal. But it was of no use. You ascended after you got here. 1 level. The condition here is suitable for me. Also, I could use the sun original essence to increase my power. If I could have the vermilion bird's sacred body, I could become the vermilion bird and replace him. At that time, my living form would be more complete. Aren't you him? I used to be, but not anymore. At the moment I gained my consciousness, my way became different from his. I don't want to become a part of his soul. I want to make efforts for myself. I want to live for me, not for him. Moreover, he has died already. Died already. To existences like him, it's hard to die completely. He destroyed all the attackers, created the forbidden area in the solar star exploding fragment field, and built a tremendous energy restriction to protect his skeleton from people's discovery. Why? Because when his soul scattered, it divided into several flows. No one knows which space they've gone to. However, any creature who could have the remnants of his soul could understand the power of the vermilion bird. One day, if it could reach a certain level, it could be reborn. As long as he could get his skeleton, he would be reborn using a different method. Sure, Yen knitted his brows tightly in surprise. At the level of the sacred beast vermilion bird, the soul would never be completely destroyed. At the moment it exploded, it would divide into so many flows of remnant souls, wandering in different spaces. If a creature captured one of those flows, it could always evolve and get stronger. After that, the sacred bird would gain a new life one more time. If he could get his skeleton, when he was reborn, he would be himself once again. Perhaps he could recover his full energy. Moreover, he could advance one more step to understand the mysteries of earth and heaven deeper. The 9 serenities, soul-devouring flame, sent its thought. It seemed this flame had some knowledge of creatures in the immemorial epoch. Shi Yen was dumbstruck. He felt fear as he was shaken by the might of the creatures in the immemorial epoch. Oh, right, the little girl you've met in the perpetual night forest, the one called Zwasher. If nothing unexpected happens, she certainly has a soul remnant of the sacred beast black tortoise. If she can continue to progress and get stronger, she can become the sacred beast black tortoise one day. Perhaps she will be stronger than the black tortoise himself. The 9 serenities, soul-devouring flame, suddenly recalled something. It pondered for a while and then continued. Shi Yen was shaken, shouting, "Why didn't you tell me earlier? I know it from the talk with the vermilion bird, True Flame. This method of rebirth is called the soul nirvana of the sacred beast," said the 9 serenities, soul-devouring flame. Shi Yan's eyes sparkled with light in astonishment. He got dumbstruck for a while, then finally understood why old Xianming wanted to take care of Zwasher. For Zwasher's welfare, he had done his best. Xianming was the descendant of that bloodline. The sacred beast, black tortoise, was his ancestor. As Zwasher had a flow of his ancestor's soul remnant, she could be considered his ancestor. As he had put forth everything to help her, did he know the soul nirvana technique which he would use Zwasher to make the sacred beast black tortoise be reborn? Before sacred beast black tortoise left the Grace mainland, it was one of the strongest existences. Like the vermilion bird, why did he have to experience the soul nirvana? Did they encounter a more intimidating existence? Shi Yen sighed with inexplicable emotion. Suddenly, he had a respect and fear for the unpredictable mysteries of outer space. There were so many experts in outer space. Although he'd reached the 3rd sky of True God Realm, it wasn't enough to counter anything. As his thought flickered, his eyes sparkled with amazement. He suddenly walked to the vermilion bird's skeleton. He knocked the bones, turning to Ziyao while smiling. "Do you have any way to bring the vermilion bird's skeleton with us?" "What do you want to do?" Ziyao was surprised. "Make weapons." Shi Yen was excited, gesturing. "This bird should have a profound realm. If we can make weapons using its bones, they will be divine weapons. I've lost my 3 bone thorns. Perhaps I can use this skeleton to create a better weapon." "No." Vermilion bird, True Flame, suddenly screamed. its soul sounding sorrowful. That's my body. My body. You can't break it. Absolutely, you must not break it. Didn't you say that you and he are totally different? Sure, Yin glared at the flame. The vermilion bird is dead. Leaving the skeleton here is just a waste of good materials. I'd better take it. No. If you do that, I will risk my life against you. Even if I have to die completely, I will stop you. The vermilion bird, true flame, cried loudly. Leave the skeleton. One day, he can have a new life and mightier power. Even if I'm not him, I don't want him to vanish completely. Agree with me. If you give up the skeleton, I will follow you honestly. I will never resist. Pausing for a while, the vermilion bird, true flame, desperately begged him. Please show mercy. I've been in outer space for so many years. I know some places with similarly mighty skeletons. I promise you, I will definitely find them for you. I'm sure. Rubbing his chin, Shi Yin contemplated for a while. Eventually, he gave up his intentions, then nodded and talked to the flame. Forget it. As we will stay together for a long time and you've begged me that much, I'll give you face. The vermilion bird, true flame, sighed in relief. This time, it wasn't arrogant or stubborn. The flame flew into his sea of consciousness without waiting for Shi Yin to urge it. Sure, Yin didn't continue to trouble the flame either. He smiled, then opened his soul altar, letting the 5 heaven flames enter. Sure, Yin sensed for a while and felt like his soul getting sublimated. A flow of warm and cozy energy flooded his entire body as he smiled happily. I think we should leave. Ziyao nodded, scanning the area with a little yearning in her eyes. Yeah, it's time to go. Although this place is barren and isolated, I will never forget it. Let's go. Shi Yin shouted, soaring into the sky and heading to the thick, gray clouds. Ziyao followed him as she smiled charmingly and swayed her appealing body. Just like a deity returning home, she looked indescribably beautiful. Chapter 749, Chaos Upanishad. Chapter 749, Chaos Upanishad. Layers of thick, dark clouds had created a magical, heavenly barrier. The gravity increased dozens of times. The closer they got to the sky, the stronger the gravity became. Ziyao's power had been recovered well, so it was easy for her to get through the clouds using her god domain. However, it was tough for Shi Yin. Every step he made to move in the sky had consumed a lot of energy. At this moment, vermilion bird, true flame in his soul, altar suddenly emitted a magical energy wave. That energy wave contacted the thick clouds in the sky. In the next moment, the tremendous gravity that covered the entire place was reduced by several times. Sure, Yin soared up to the sky even faster than Ziyao. When he got to outer space, a magical vortex appeared atop his head. It was the vortex that had dragged him into that bleak land. The vermilion bird, true flame, flew out. Right when it fell into the eye of the vortex, the latter stopped moving. It didn't generate a strong suction force anymore. As the flame and the vermilion bird used to be one, it was familiar with the barriers and restrictions the bird had set up. Under the flame's power, all the energy barriers and vortexes ceased. Shi Yin could fly smoothly out of the eye of the vortex. Shortly, he appeared in the forbidden area of the solar star exploding fragment field. He didn't hasten to leave as he hovered and waited in the sky. Slowly, Ziyao appeared and flew towards him, floating shoulder to shoulder with him. Energy vortexes and storms screamed around them. However, the vermilion bird, true flame, had made them all cease, unable to move around and wreak havoc anymore. That was why they didn't meet any obstacles on the way out of the land. With the vermilion bird, true flame's aid, they got out of the solar star forbidden area, flying between the burning meteorites. Those burning meteorites were the pieces of the sun after it exploded. They still had a little bit of the sun original essence. However, due to absorbing so many pieces of chipped rock and debris in outer space, the energy had been polluted. Sure, Yin couldn't absorb this dirty energy. He could only use the star Upanishad to create a feeble contact with them. However, even though this connect was feeble, it was enough for him as long as it could bring him support when he was in need. Be careful! Z, Yao tenderly called him. Her face became cold immediately. Ka Tuo still here. Shi Yen frowned, instinctively releasing his soul consciousness. Flows of soul consciousness scattered, pouring into the burning meteorites around them. Meteorites, connected to him, moved slowly, congregating towards him. Tiger shark war chariots appeared from different corners. Ka Tua, with his shiny bald head, was standing on the leading chariot. He couldn't hold his laughter. You two have finally come out. I knew it. It's impossible to hide in there for a long time. So why is my boss? Many space pirates faced the sky and laughed out loud. They were all excited, thinking that their wait wasn't wasted. Ka Tua, you're a haunting ghost that never vanishes. Z Yao spoke with a dark face and a pair of cold eyes. What is it that the other has promised you which makes you wait here for so long? Ka Tua, why do you suddenly have plenty of time like that? Your Highness, you've become smarter. I like you even more. Bloody slaughter. Ka Tuo's grin seemed to last forever. Oh, yeah, the benefit the other has promised me is something I can hardly deny. Otherwise, I wouldn't need to keep my eye on you guys. I hope you would be smarter. Your amethyst war chariot is broken, so you can't escape today. You should be honest and follow me. As long as you can satisfy me, mwahaha, perhaps I will keep you alive. If you dare to keep me alive, the other will kill you. Ka Tua, making up such a thing in front of me. Don't you feel it's too boring? Z Yao snorted, looking here and there. I think you guys better leave earlier, or else you will regret taking this business. Ha ha ha. Ka Tua laughed crazily. Your Highness, you're too innocent. If I dare to walk on this way, I have never thought that I can die naturally. If I can live one day, I want to earn more for that day. To me, even if my fate is set, I will strongly resist and find a way to survive. Pausing for a while, Ka Tua shouted, Kill them! Whoever dares to show them mercy, Daddy will bury him altogether. After he finished, the crowd of space pirates became crazy, wildly storming forward. Z Yao didn't talk more, releasing her god domain, her eyes turning serious. 7-colored rainbow bloomed from her soft body, covering the whole area. Shi Yen stood firmly. Suddenly, he grinned while talking to her. Just pay attention to Ka Tua. Leave the rest to me. You. Z Yao was stunned as her beautiful eyes gazed at him. Are you sure? Although you've reached the third sky of True God Realm, do you think that you can gain the upper hand against King God Realm warriors? If we don't try, we won't know, Shi Yen smiled. Your Highness, have you ever heard about a method called for ounces yield 1,000 caddies? Never. Z Yao shook her head. Then I'll show you. Shi Yen stopped smiling. He gathered himself together, touching his forehead. Scorching flames diffused from him like countless rapid meteors, dashing towards the burning meteorites around him. Instantly, the flaming meteorites were revived, turning into fireballs, flying and colliding everywhere. They rumblingly rushed towards the space pirates. Each burning meteorite was extremely massive. Some of them still had bits of the sun original essence. After absorbing numerous pieces of rock and debris, they became quite intimidating, moving in the solar star exploding fragment field. Burning meteorites moved by some principles of nature. With a vivid red hue, they looked like dancing red lanterns, furiously attacking the space pirates. Ka Tuo's subordinates pitched their voices and cursed. Once the flaming meteorites collided with them, the flaming fluid on the menacing meteorite would splash on them. They cried painfully while smoke fumed and sizzled on their god bodies. Floating quietly in the cold outer space, Shiryen wore a cold, dark face. Flows of pure flaming solar energy shot out rapidly between his fingers, creating the connection with the meteorites around him. It seemed like invisible gossamers were connecting his fingers and the meteorites, which could manipulate the massive, burning rock to stir and wreak havoc in the middle of the crowd of pirates. Many pirates at the true god realm, who hadn't gained a god body yet and had a realm that wasn't profound enough, had to spit out blood when the meteorites hit them. Their blood was then burned into ashes by the flaming fluid, as their living aura vanished shortly. Only warriors at the king god realm could dodge in distress. When the flaming fluid touched them, they could resist for a while, using their tough god bodies. Shiryen had used the power of only one warrior and the unique situation of the solar star exploding fragment field to manipulate the flaming meteorites by his star martial spirit, creating a magical sea of meteorites, which torrentially crushed the space pirates. Zi Yao's beautiful eyes sparkled as she looked at him deeply. After a long moment, she smiled. Turns out it's what you call 4 ounces yield 1,000 caddies. I can understand it now. As you've comprehended the Sun Upanishad, you use the energy taken from the Sun original essence to connect with the meteorites. You're excellent. I didn't misjudge you. Under Shiryan's soul control, the meteorite sea was unbreakable. A part of the pirate group was killed by the flaming meteorites, while the other king god realm warriors were flying around like flies. They couldn't pose a threat to Shiryen. His defense seemed to be indestructible. Zi Yao could ease her mind. As she took a deep breath, the god light twirled and expanded gradually from her body. A burning flame also extended from her god domain. Added with her soul consciousness, this wisp of flame vaguely locked bloody slaughterer Ka Tuo. Ka Tuo wore a savage countenance. He had released his god domain for a long time. Remnants of energies, debris, and pieces of corpses were dragged into his god domain, while chaotic energy fluctuations appeared. A chaotic aura emitted from Ka Tuo's god body in the middle of his god domain. His eyes became bloodshot. He roared as he was ready to storm forward. Shiryan's eyes shrank. He became tense and cautious. However, right at this moment, a rainbow light sparked on his blood vein ring. It flashed, then disappeared, as if it had intruded Ka Tuo's god domain. The rainbow was like a small rope, taking a walk inside Ka Tuo's god domain as if it were surveying something. A moment later, a feeble thought was sent to Shiryen from the ring. It's the Upanishad inherited from Galu. Subdue him and make him your first cortege. His Upanishad isn't pure enough. Detour. I'm going to impart you the earlier period of Galu's Upanishad. You should entice him and make him follow you. The aura of the ring spirit in the blood vein ring was too feeble. If Shiryen weren't cautious, he couldn't have felt it. Who is Galu? Shiryen was surprised. He hastened to send his thought to the ring. How are you? How have you restored? It's tough to recover. I can only send you a bit of consciousness. Every time I talk to you, I have to consume energy. Don't talk about the irrelevant topics. I will impart you Galu's Upanishad inheritance. Use it to entice him and make him follow you. This inherited Upanishad can help him get back on the right path. However, if he wants to break through to the original God realm, I need to adjust the power one more time. Imparting the Upanishad to you will harm me. I will be quiet for a long time. Be careful. Don't let the others kill you. A thought of the ring, spirit flashed. In the next moment, a magical soul fluctuation flew directly to Shiryan's sea of consciousness. Galu is one of the bloodthirsty cortege of 8. Chaos Upanishad is his main Upanishad. Use your negative energy to cover it and hand it to the other. Imparting Upanishad seemed to consume a lot of energy. The ring spirit's aura became weaker and weaker. Even though it hadn't explained, clearly it disappeared. Sher Yen couldn't sense it again, no matter how hard he tried. Sher Yen was startled. He didn't have the time to think more, urging the negative energy in his acupuncture points and guiding it to his sea of consciousness. He had to use the negative energy to cover that flow of soul fluctuation to preserve it. That flow of soul fluctuation seemed to have the aura of a magical Upanishad. It was like a strange soul sacrificial altar. After the negative energy had covered it, looked like it had a veil that made Sher Yen unable to see things clearly. One of the bloodthirsty cortege of 8. Chaos Upanishad. Thoughts appeared one by one in his head. Sher Yen was dumbstruck. Shortly, he seemed to get something as his eyes lit up. Chapter 750. Call me Senior. Chapter 750. Call me Senior. Sure. Yen suddenly turned around and shouted to Ziyao. You should leave first. I will catch up with you later. I will make all the burning meteorites explode. It will create a formidable shockwave. Except for me who understands the Sun Upanishad, all people here will be affected. You will not be an exception. Ziyao was frightened. You want to fight face to face with bloody slaughter Ka Tuo? Impossible. You will never be able to hurt him. I know. He's at the third sky of King God realm. I'm a whole realm behind him. I know I'm not his rival. Sure, Yen didn't have the mood to joke. I will stop him for a while and show him how dangerous I am. Once the shockwave's over, you can return and help me. But you have to leave now. Ziyao's eyes were complicated. She looked at him deeply in astonishment for seconds. Then she nodded. Sure, Yen, promise me that you'll be safe. I don't want anything unexpected to happen to you. Really, I want you to be safe. Sher Yen smiled and said, Move. I'll be all right. Give me more time. Perhaps I can bring you a big surprise. Ziyao exhaled. All right, I will leave. Be careful. She wasn't an indecisive woman, as she was able to hold a high position of the dark firmament divine nation, the generation with the most outstanding fame that her nimbus could subdue many princes. It was enough to prove her competency and characteristics. Ziyao retreated, turning into a flow of 7-colored light. Shortly, she had moved pretty far away. At this moment, the other space pirates didn't dare to approach. Only bloody slaughter Ka Tuo was still storming towards Sher Yen, like crazy with his god domain. He wanted to kill Sher Yen and then chase after Ziyao. Seeing Ka Tuo stride angrily and get closer to him, Sher Yen had so many thoughts moving in his head. He was discreetly nervous, as he didn't know if what the ring spirit had told him was true or not. Would he be able to wake Ka Tuo up using the Upanishad inheritance? Gradually, Ka Tuo was only 1,000 meters away from him. Sher Yan's thought flickered, and countless flaming meteorites abruptly congregated around him. Shortly, the area around him was filled with flaming meteorites, blocking Sher Yen and Ka Tuo in the middle. The others couldn't see them right now. Ka Tuo's god domain was special. It didn't seem to be weakened by the tremendous impacts of the burning meteorites. Moreover, the fragments of meteorites were dragged into his god domain, becoming a beam of scattered energy Ka Tuo could use, which boosted his aura formidably. Kid, my god domain's the most special one in the raging flame star area. Do you think you can stop me? Ka Tuo roared indignantly with a pair of blood-red eyes. His aura was both brutal and savage, that sent shivers down to people's spines. Ka Tuo, the power Upanishad you've been cultivating has diverged from the right path. The inheritance you got isn't complete. Your inheritance is called Chaos Upanishad. Do you know that? Sure. Yen calmly looked at him and then smiled. I asked Ziyao to leave and kept your people away so that we can talk. Ka Tuo discolored as if he had seen a ghost. looking at Sher Yen with fright. What did you just say? Repeat it. What's my Upanishad called? Repeat it. Chaos Upanishad, Sher Yen repeated faintly. Ka Tuo's eyes sparkled disbelievingly. His savage aura silently reduced as he still maintained a certain distance with Sher Yen. He shivered in thrill. You. How did you know the name of my Upanishad? Who are you? How are you related to that man? Sher Yen was dumbstruck. However, he felt cheered up. Ka Tuo, the power Upanishad you've been cultivating is related to me. If you are cultivating the Upanishad you receive from him, we're going on the same way. Relax, then we'll talk. Ka Tuo was still shaking. His eyes were filled with extreme surprise and fear. My Upanishad has never appeared in the Raging Flame Star area. How did you know about it? I took this Upanishad from the lonesome dead territory outside the Raging Flame Star area. Have you ever been there? How did you know? His mood wasn't calm, as if he had encountered a frightening surprise. His voice became louder. Quiet down, Sher Yen frowned and snorted. Ka Tuo was startled. He had to adjust his breath to calm down. A long time later, a strange light sparkled in his eyes, looking at Sher Yen with a great surprise. Who are you? Where are you from? Whenever you urge your Upanishad, your eyes will turn blood red, right? An idea popped up in his head. Sher Yen asked the other all of a sudden. Ka Tuo was shaken and became more frightened. You also know that. Sher Yen curled his lips and urged his rampage. His eyes immediately changed to the fearful, blood-red hue. Ka Tuo was dumbstruck, and his boiling mood settled down. He looked at Sher Yen deeply and then nodded. Perhaps you and I share the same root. However, I'm not that man's disciple. I just got his inheritance. He was dead a long time ago, so my inheritance isn't complete. When he was still young, he was just a sky, realm space pirate. He had followed his boss to run to the lonesome, dead territory outside the Raging Flame Star area, where he had a fortunate encounter. A strange force had guided him to a mysterious and bizarre area. He found a decayed skeleton there. This skeleton was so old that its sole altar had just a beam of faint light, with a thought of a broken Upanishad. He then merged that broken thought of Upanishad into his soul and put forth everything to study. It took him a lot of time to understand the mysteries of the Upanishad. However, this Upanishad had never appeared in the Raging Flame Star area before. Although this Upanishad was incomplete, he took this chance and made it his main power to cultivate to the true God realm. Also, he had created the seal of Upanishad to continue advancing his realm. It had been so many years. He had used this incomplete Upanishad to shine in the Raging Flame Star area and replace his boss, becoming the new leader of the space pirates. Although it was a broken Upanishad, he had treasured it a lot. Through many years of learning and comprehending, he had found that this Upanishad was so profound that it was almost one of the most dangerous powers Upanishad in the universe. It was even more advanced and exquisite than the powers Upanishad of the other leaders in the Raging Flame Star area. This was Ka Tuo's biggest secret, which he had never revealed to anyone. This power Upanishad had made him a leader from a low pirate, giving him his today's attainments. However, as his realm had become more profound, the incomplete features of the power Upanishad became clearer. Gradually, it had affected his mentality and soul. Everything was getting chaotic. He became worried. Up till recently, he had been looking for a solution. However, since it was a power Upanishad that had never existed in the Raging Flame Star area, no matter how hard he had searched, he couldn't find the way out. As he had entered the third sky of King God realm, the incomplete power Upanishad would trouble him a lot when he entered the original God realm. His soul altar could be shattered while he was breaking through his new realm. As he knew it would be dangerous, he didn't dare to break through or dig deeper about his Upanishad. You Power Upanishad isn't complete. Also, you've diverged. If you can't have a complete Upanishad, you'll never be able to break through the original God realm. You shouldn't go against the nature's order, which will destroy your soul. Shuryen looked at him, suddenly beamed a smile. However, if you can have a complete Upanishad after you enter the new realm, you will be one of the small number of strongest warriors of the raging flame star area. If you and the others have the same realm, you can trounce them easily. You don't know how lucky you are. Encountering me is the luckiest event in your whole life. Shuryen talked as if he were a hoax medium, guiding the other step by step. He threatened and then showed the big benefits to entice the other. Looking at Ka Tuo's visage, Shuryen believed that he wouldn't pose any threat to him anymore, since he had something Ka Tuo couldn't resist. Who is he? Who are you? Ka Tuo's breath became short and heavy. He panted, trying to calm down. Since he had cultivated this broken Upanishad for so many years, he knew the formidable features of this Upanishad more than anyone else. He believed that the complete version of this Upanishad would be the most fearful thing in the raging flame star area. He craved for it. This heated thought filled his brain, burning his rationality. He's my precursor. I'm the apprentice of one line. The Upanishad you've been cultivating, I have the complete one, Shuryen said smilingly. Ka Tuo suddenly grinned fiendishly. Then it's good. If I kill you, I'll get the complete Upanishad. When I use it and break through to the original God realm, I will fear no one in this raging flame star area. Ha ha ha. You think it's that simple? Sure, Yen soon knew how this sort of people worked. If you could kill me to get what you want, would I stay here and babble with you? Pausing for a while, Shuryen continued deliberately. Sorry, mate. Even if you kill me, you can't have the complete inheritance, because it stays in my sea of consciousness. If I die, it will vanish. Only my energy could preserve it. Ka Tuo mused. He also knew it wouldn't be simple. He said that just to see Shuryen's reaction. If Shuryen showed he was scared, he could do that. If Shuryen didn't react, it meant the other wasn't afraid of him or losing his life. He observed for a while and made a new assumption immediately. Ka Tuo took a deep breath to steady his mind. Kid, what do you want? Please call me senior. My status is higher than yours, Shuryen naturally fabricated. Ka Tuo's face reddened, looking enraged. However, to get the complete inheritance, he had to press it down. With a husky voice, he called senior. All right. Since you've cultivated his Upanishad, we are from the same school. Killing and fighting have violated our rules. Shuryen grinned. All right, I don't want to do anything to you. We're from the same house. You called me senior, which has proven our root. It's normal if I give you a gift for our first encounter. Then his thought flickered, using negative energy to cover the magical Upanishad, sending it towards Ka Tuo. It will help you get back on the right track and prevent you from falling into bedevilment. However, before you break through the original God realm, you have to find me, or else you will meet a lot of troubles. Ka Tuo was shivering in thrill as his eyes brightened. His gaze was even hotter when he saw Princess Ziyao. Looking at the inherited Upanishad, he hated that he couldn't swallow it right away. Chapter 751, Repel the Enemy. Chapter 751, Repel the Enemy. The Upanishad inheritance shot out of Shuryen's sea of consciousness, slowly floating towards Ka Tuo. Ka Tuo's eyes were so hot, yet he was a little bit hesitant as well. Eventually, he released his soul altar. His soul altar covered the Upanishad. Shuryen's negative energy covering the inheritance vanished immediately right when the Upanishad merged into the power Upanishad tier of Ka Tuo's soul altar, becoming part of his soul altar. Chaotic energy fluctuations twirled around Ka Tuo. His body shook vehemently while he was sensing the Upanishad, adding it into his soul altar and making it his unique seal of Upanishad. Shi Yen let out light laughter. The way he looked at Ka Tua didn't have any evil intention. When adding the power Upanishad, the warrior would need to release his soul altar and condense his soul, spirit, and thought into one. He shouldn't let any external force disturb him during the whole process. At this moment, if Shi Yen struck a fatal strike, even if bloody slaughter Ka Tua had reached the third sky of King God Realm, he would receive severe wounds. As long as he wanted to attack Ka Tua, even if bloody slaughter Ka Tua could survive, he would be hurt badly. Perhaps he would never have the chance to enter the original God Realm for the rest of his life. But Shi Yen didn't want to attack Ka Tua. To him, the blood vein ring still concealed a big secret that he had just entered the threshold of. It would take a long time to open it fully. Ka Tua received the inheritance of the Chaos Upanishad by Gulu, one of Bloodthirsty's cortege of 8. As Gulu was one member of the Bloodthirsty's cortege of 8, he must be a powerful expert. Shi Yen was scared thinking how this almost invincible existence died. Since Gulu was related to that man, perhaps he would become a sharp weapon in Shi Yen's hand. Of course, he would never destroy his weapon. Shortly, Ka Tua seemed to finish adding the Upanishad into his soul altar. His soul altar swayed slightly, then returned to his sea of consciousness, the energy fountain of his soul. At this moment, Ka Tua opened his eyes, taking a deep breath. An extreme joy bloomed in his heart as he looked at Shi Yen with great astonishment. "You just gave me the inheritance like that? No conditions?" Shi Yen grinned. "My brother, we're from the same school, so I won't harm you. This inheritance belongs to you. If you get it, you should continue to cultivate. I can relax now. If you please, just tell me who asked you to attack me. And don't chase us furthermore. Is it okay?" Ka Tua didn't answer immediately. He pondered for a while and then suddenly asked, "Senior, why do you only have the true God Realm cultivation base?" "I'm too young. Although I was enrolled earlier, my cultivation time hasn't been long enough." Shi Yen continued to fabricate his story. "As you call me your senior, we're considered classmates. When you've entered the original God Realm, I will tell you things related to us. How about you and I join hand to capture Xiao? I have always dreamt of having her. Anyway, if brother wants her, as your junior, I can give up what I want." A cunning gleam sparkled in Ka Tuo's eyes. "If we capture Xiao, I can receive big benefits. Don't you think it's better to go with me than with that little girl? Although we don't have a good reputation for being space pirates, we don't have any restrictions. We can do whatever we want. How free is that? What do you think?" "Pirates." Shi Yen was surprised. Then he shook his head, smilingly. "Always hiding to west or east. It's not what I want. I don't care if you want to be a space pirate, but I won't do that. I have my goals. I have stuff I have to get done. Your crew has enough members, so I won't be one of you." Ka Tua frowned while contemplating. "You should hurry to adjust your Upanishad, getting it back on the right track. So, I suggest you be content with your lot, quiet down, and find a place where people can't find you to solve your problem first," Shi Yen smiled. "If you don't want to talk more, I won't force you. We will talk later. Once you strengthen your realm and feel you want to break through to the original God Realm, remember to find me. We will talk at that time." Then, Shi Yen seemed not to want to talk more. He turned around and left. Bloody slaughter Ka Tua looked at him with astonishment. Seeing him about to leave, with Shi Yen having flown out already, he shouted in a low tone, "Wait a minute." Shi Yen turned his back, looking at him smilingly. "The ones who hired me included Miss by Ro of the Underworld League and Sura of the Dark Firmament Divine Nation." Ka Tua snorted. "It's to repay your favor, senior." My business is done here. I will leave right away. Brother, be careful. Sura's attack won't end here. Even if we leave, he will continue. Sura. Shi Yan was surprised. Who's he? Haha, Princess Z Yao surely knows him. Tell her, and she will know who wants to kill her. Ka Tua pondered for a while, and then continued. That princess isn't a good person. Brother, be careful. Don't give her a chance to kill you. Many strong experts in the Raging Flame Star area follow her because of her beauty. However, most of them don't have a nice ending. You should take care of yourself. Shi Yan nodded and smiled. Thank you for your reminder. Ah, by the way, what should I do if I want to contact you? Ka Tua hesitated for a while and then took out a blue sky crystal from his ring. That crystal was carved with a magical formation and a beam of moving chaos energy. I made it myself. When you want to find me, give it to a guy named Ka Fu in the land of God Punishment. He's my brother. Ka Tua threw him the stone. But you'd better not let the others see it. Don't bring trouble to me. The land of God Punishment? Where is it? Shi Yan was surprised. Ask Princess Ziyao. She must know about it. Ka Tua didn't talk more. He turned around and left, as if he was hastening to reconcile his new Upanishad. Shortly, Ka Tua disappeared. Shi Yan scattered the burning meteorites. Not long afterward, he saw the tiger-shark war chariots disappear one by one. Ka Tua was a man who repaid favor. He left a tiger-shark war chariot there for Shi Yan. Shi Yan pondered for a while, flying out of the circle made of flaming meteorites towards the tiger-shark chariot. He found that the spiritual station inside the chariot and all barriers and restrictions had been deactivated. Shi Yan poured a flow of soul consciousness into the chariot, which moved immediately, gliding through the meteorites towards Xiao. A massive meteorite shielded a place in the gathering spot of sunbeams. It was where Ziyao was waiting for him, silently. She looked like a fire fairy with rainbow light twirling around her. She was worriedly folding and then unfolding her fingers. Flows of 7-colored divine light shot out of her fingertips. Just like small snakes, they wound around her hand. Staying with Shi Yan through this period had calmed down her seething mind. She had temporarily forgotten the wicked competition of the royal family. She felt relaxed, as if she had thrown all the burdens away. This experience would be something she would never forget for the rest of her life. She treasured it, and Shi Yan was a flame in this memory of hers, which she had imprinted in her mind, and nothing could erase it. Waiting with worries for a long moment, Ziyao became impatient, seeing the meteorites not exploding. She couldn't help herself but fly out of the sunbeam's congregating area, turning around to look for Shi Yan. A moment later, she found a tiger-shark war chariot. Ziyao discolored, gathering energy to prepare for her attacks. Are you going back there for me? A generous laughter arose from the war chariot from a sunbeam gathering area far from her. Seems like your highness misses me a lot. Yeah, I'm honored. I suddenly feel excited. Perhaps that's why I could burst out my divine power and defeat Ka Tuo's gang. Shi Yan shouted. The tiger-shark war chariot glided faster through the thick-woven sunbeams and approached Ziyao shortly. Ziyao's enchanting face looked like a blooming flower. She smiled tenderly, waiting inside the bunch of sunbeams. 7-colored god light twirled around her soft body as her beautiful eyes glistened. It's true. I was really worried about you, but it seems I overthought. Tell me, why didn't Ka Tuo's gang chase after you? The sea in her heart seethed. It wasn't as calm as she was showing on her face. Releasing the soul consciousness, she didn't find anyone, which made her seriously curious. Bloody Slaughterer Ka Tuo's name was famous in the Raging Flame Star area. He was the most ruthless slaughterer, and his hands always had bloodstains. It was not easy to make this man give up his targets. As long as he hadn't died, he would never give way to his targets. Zi Yao was astounded knowing that the slaughterer didn't come after them. She didn't know what had happened back there. Ka Tua won't show up anymore. He has retreated from the solar star exploding fragment field. He gave us this tiger shark war chariot. Shi Yan smiled, waving at Zi Yao to ask her to get in the war chariot. Zi Yao hesitated for a while, as if she were afraid of something. Then, she slowly got into the chariot. Have you cooperated with Ka Tua to deal with me? Would you sell me then? Ka Tua had proposed the same, indeed. Shi Yan looked at her deeply. Suddenly he smiled. Zi Yao discolored. I denied him. Ha! Pardon me, but I can't tell you the details, and I hope you won't ask about it. While frowning, Shi Yan said seriously, Ka Tua and I share the same origin. I hope that you won't pursue him after we get out of here. At this moment, I can't disclose much. I hope you believe me. I don't mean harm to you. Princess Zi Yao's eyes sparkled as she scrutinized him without blinking. Long afterward, she nodded gently. All right, I won't press you. Quite the contrary. I feel better that you don't tell me the details. If you had told me a broken lie, I would have thought that you did cooperate with Ka Tua to harm me. Bai Rou of the Underworld League has promised big profits to Ka Tua, smiled Shi Yan. That be *TCH. Zi Yao gritted her teeth. And there's another one. Shi Yan paused for a while, his face odd. He's from your dark firmament divine nation. Ka Tua said that he's called Sura. Do you know him? Zi Yao's face changed dramatically as her soft body shivered. Cold light shot out from her eyes. This man indeed. Who? Prince Dujia, my brother from another mother. Sura's the captain of his bodyguards. Chapter 752, Dirk. Chapter 752, Dirk. Dark competition in the royal family was the dirtiest and most ruthless in the world. For the throne, brothers could kill brothers, or even the father. It was not a rare thing to expect. Dujia and Zi Yao had the same father but different mothers. To get the crown of the dark firmament divine nation, Dujia wanted to kill Zi Yao and her blood brother, which wasn't hard to understand. After Princess Zi Yao named Prince Dujia, her mood was down. Along the way back, she was silent, and her smile wasn't as bright as before. Shi Yan understood her mood. He knew it was hard to give any advice in this field. So, he didn't try to say anything in vain. Zi Yao told him what the land of God punishment was. It was the area at the edge of the raging flame star area, which was obnubulated by thick mist year-round. This land had so many forbidden areas that even an original God realm expert couldn't use his soul consciousness to survey. Many space pirates would seclude in those lands to avoid the enemies. The land of God punishment was situated in the center of the forbidden areas. A crowd of pirates, marauders, and evildoers that the other forces didn't want to accept dwelled there, along with brutal slaughterers and the madmen of the raging flame star area. No one would show mercy while talking about that area. Also, it was a strange but rich trading area. Many goods the pirates and marauders got would be put up for transactions there. Rare cultivating materials that couldn't be found in the raging flame star area would perhaps appear in that land. The land of God punishment was full of fights. They fought daily. Weak warriors couldn't survive there. People were killed every day, and all of their belongings would be snatched away. When bloody slaughter Ka Tua, the leader of the pirates, operated in another area of the raging flame star area, if the enemies laid their eyes on him, he would be chased until they could kill him. But it would be different in the land of God punishment. This place had so many forbidden areas. If he evaluated that he couldn't resist the enemies, he just needed to hide in a forbidden area and see some time to recover. Madmen, slaughterers, pirates, and murderers with many death sentences often visited the land of God punishment. They would trade many goods and materials, creating a strange but rich land. This area hadn't been governed. Forces in the Raging Flame Star area used to attack this place in an attempt to clean it. However, they hadn't succeeded. After what Princess Ziyao told him, Shiryan quieted down as he finally knew the location of the land of God punishment. If it were not necessary, he wouldn't need to visit that land. Even if he wanted to go, it shouldn't be with his current realm. When he felt he could protect himself well enough, he would go there and find Ka Tuo, asking him to do something in his favor. Zi Yao seemed to have another goal. The tiger shark war chariot slowed down as she knew bloody slaughter Ka Tuo wouldn't come for them anymore. She identified the direction, then drove the war chariot in the solar star exploding fragment field, not caring about the speed. On their journey, they encountered some other marauders and some warriors secluding in the solar star exploding fragment field. However, those people weren't as brutal and fearless as bloody slaughter Ka. When they found that Zi Yao was at the third sky of King God realm, they would proactively stay away, not daring to mess with her. Shiryan relaxed happily. He stayed and cultivated in the tiger shark war chariot to study his realm. He didn't hurry, just letting Zi Yao be in charge of everything. Time flew by quickly. Today, when he was closing his eyes to relax his nerves, Zi Yao suddenly smiled and muttered, "We're almost there. Where do you want to go?" "Sure." Yen lifted his head to look at her in confusion. "You should have a purpose visiting the solar star exploding fragment field. What do you want after all?" "I want to visit a man. He's very important to me. If I can get his recognition, I can gain the upper hand in the royal competition to the throne." Zi Yao's bold brows knitted together. "Don't be hurried. We will see him soon." Zi Yao drove the tiger shark war chariot to glide through the maze of meteorites, sometimes using her sole consciousness to survey. Gradually, they arrived at a place packed with burning meteorites. Flaming rocks floated everywhere, while sunbeams shot chaotically. Zi Yao got excited as she wormed through the gaps between the dangerous burning meteorites, like a shuttle. She detoured to avoid many dangerous areas, and after a long moment, called out, "It's here." Yan's eyes brightened, his face also cheering up as his vision got clear. It was unimaginable that a piece of land with rich heaven and earth energy could be situated in the middle of the burning meteorite sea. It was a square land, thousands of miles squared in area. It floated quietly in outer space. Countless sunbeams seemed to be absorbed by that piece of land. Steam fumed, winding outside the land, creating a marvelous barrier and covering the entire area. This barrier filtered the sunbeams, controlling the extreme heat so it wouldn't destroy the flora inside. Square-shaped herbal fields were flat and neat like cubes of tofu. Each field was the home of rare and precious spiritual herbs. They were all shining vigorously, proving their magical medicinal effects. At first glance, those herbal fields seemed to be shimmering. So many plants in different colors looked more like blooming flowers, forming a scene that was beautifully marvelous. A clear lake stayed in the center of hundreds of herbal fields, where an islet with a small cottage was situated. Zi Yao's line of sight glided through the thick steam, falling on that small cottage. She left the tiger shark war chariot, going into the barrier made of thick vapor, then called tenderly, "Uncle Dirk, your niece comes to visit you. Please open the barrier so I can get in." A soul fluctuation was sent from the small cottage on the islet. A moment later, a white-headed man emerged from the cottage. He waved his hand to dismiss the barrier, letting out a tender laughter. "Come in." Zi Yao nodded to Shiryan, signaling him to come with her. Shiryan smiled and didn't hesitate, accompanying Xiao through the barrier to that land of rich heaven and earth's spiritual qi. They slowly descended at the center of the islet. The white-headed man, called Dirk, had some wrinkles at the corners of his eyes, but he was surely a handsome man when he was young. He crossed his arms in front of his chest, standing in the yard of his cottage while facing the sky, until Ziyao and Shi Yan landed. His deep eyes had never left Ziyao, as if he were sinking into his thoughts. Shi Yan didn't say anything as he was observing the surroundings discreetly, especially Dirk. This herbal area was surrounded by so many flaming meteor lights. It was just around 1,000 square miles, but the heaven and earth spiritual qi and the 5 elements energy in this land were dozens of times denser than the 6th herbal star. Herbs and spiritual grass planted in those fields seemed to be all high quality, which Nidus couldn't compare with at all. It seemed people in this islet had utilized the solar energy of the solar star exploding fragment field to convert the cycle of heaven and earth energy to create the magic of this area. Dirk had the same immense energy fluctuation that Shi Yan had observed from delay. Their auras were vast and immeasurable. However, when he tried to sense further, he couldn't feel a beam of energy on him. It was like he was just an ordinary person. He was obviously an alchemist whose rank was higher than Nida. Looking at Ziyao, Dirk fell into his memories. Different complicated moods sparkled in his eyes. After a long moment, he sighed with emotion. So identical. You and your mother. You guys look the same as if you are one. Ziyao's soft body shivered. Uncle Dirk, you've met my mother? How is she? Ziyao's mother passed away before she could be able to memorize things. She had no memories of her mother. Every time she tried to ask her father, she didn't get the information she wanted to know. With time, the feeling she had for her mother seemed to fade gradually. That ** Du Tianji had promised me to take care of your mother. He didn't fulfill his promise. He let your mother die. Dirk snorted, his face cold and dark. If I had known it, I would have never let her go. If she had gone with me, she would have never fallen into this tragic consequence. She would absolutely not have had to die. How did she die? My father has never told me anything. Uncle, could you please tell me? Ziyao begged the man. You should ask him yourself, dear. Dirk let out a long sigh, looking at Ziyao with fondness. That ** knows you look exactly like her. That's why he sent you to see me. It's been so many years, and he hasn't changed a bit. Cunning. He calculates everything precisely. He knows I won't refuse you, so he sent you to me. Uncle, Ziyao called him tenderly, is my mother's death related to him? Of course, yes. Dirk rolled his eyes. If he didn't want that throne and expand the territory, how could my sister die exhausting herself? My sister was the most outstanding alchemist of that year. Even I didn't have her innate endowment. She had refined so many god pellets for that ** Du Tianji. She had damaged her soul badly to help Du Tianjie strengthen his force. Her soul was eroded bit by bit. Eventually, her soul altar vanished, leading to her death. If Du Tianji hadn't been so selfish that he wanted to rule the entire Raging Flame Star area, my beloved sister wouldn't have had to die. Ziyao's heart trembled, her beautiful eyes watery. A sorrowful feeling soaked her wholly. You look like my sister, but your brother takes after that **. It's impossible if you want me to leave my place and aid your brother. I will never help someone who looks like Du Tianji. But if you want to do something, I promise you, even if I have to risk my old life, I will help you at all costs. Dirk took a deep breath. The entire Raging Flame Star area knows what your brother is like. He inherits Du Tianji's characteristic from when he was young. I will never risk my life for him. Ziyao was indifferent. Du Jie, your brother from another mother, came here before you. He came and promised me that as long as I stayed in this area, he would transport a large number of medicinal materials to me every 10 years. Dirk darkened his face. The royal evil competition is so dirty that nothing could compare with it. Brothers kill sisters without any hesitation. Anyway, thinking about it, Du Tianji had also killed a lot of his siblings to claim the throne. In present days, his children are going on the same path as his young self. I wonder if he has ever thought about it. It's him. Zi Yao clenched her teeth. I almost died before I could see you, uncle. The one who ambushed me was my dear older brother Dujia. Why do you need to yearn for power and position? Give it up and leave with me. Then we will live in peace and freedom. Dirk gave her a deep look. As long as you want it, Uncle can protect you forever. You will never need to worry about anything. Uncle can help you collect cultivating materials. Why do you need to get out there and battle with the others? Even if I don't fight for my right, the others won't let me go. Zi Yao pondered for a while and then beamed a forced smile. Father has put forth everything to reach the ethereal god realm. You know how dangerous it is. If he succeeds, nothing will change. But if he fails, his soul altar will perish. At that time, the divine nation will fall into chaos. Then, no matter where I hide, I can't stay away from their pursuit. Even if Uncle wants to protect me, it'll be a hard task. Dirk panicked. That damn B** starred. How could that heartless moron gain such realm? The heaven is so unfair. Chapter 753, Resolutely Reject. Chapter 753, Resolutely Reject. In the center of the meteorite sea, Princess Zi Yao had begged Dirk to leave his place and help her compete for the throne for Du Feng, her blood brother, to ensure that he would become the future king of the dark firmament divine nation. Dirk remembered how things happened in the past, scolding Du Tianji for being heartless. However, he didn't want to help Zi Yao support Du Feng to get the throne. Sure, Yen stayed aside, not having said anything from the beginning to the end. He listened to their conversation and gained some information about King Du Tianji of the dark firmament divine nation. He understood that this man was the tyrant overlord of an area in the raging flame star area. For the great undertaking, he could give up everything. For a stronger realm, he could sacrifice anything. Perhaps in Du Tianji's mind, the one who could inherit his throne should be a bloody iron overlord like him. As his children were competing harshly, it might be that he was watching them. He wanted to see his children killing each other. The strong would live, and the weak would die. Then he would pick the winner to be his heir. The one who could show his talents in the royal competition would get into his eyes. He would make that one the crown prince and let him be in charge of the dark firmament divine nation. Later on, that crown prince would make the nation he had developed stronger and dominate the raging flame star area forever without worrying about the other forces. Only the winner of a brutal fight could prove his power and mindset. For his great undertaking, he could kill his brothers that year. And today, he had made his children kill each other. They were the kind of crazily stubborn characters. There was an obvious dispute between him and Dirk. When they were young, they were friends, and even good friends. Because of Zi Yao's mother, they diverged. Eventually, their brotherhood cracked and was cut off. He wanted to make Dirk serve him, but he knew for sure the other would never agree. That was why he had sent Princess Zi Yao to him, the princess who looked identically to her mother. Standing in front of her, it was hard for Dirk to be heartless. The affection he had for her mother in the past would make him leave his place then. However, it seemed he had a wrong assumption. It was not that Dirk didn't want to help them. However, his premise was that the throne of the dark firmament divine nation should be in Zi Yao's hands, and not her brother Du Feng. No matter how hard Zi Yao tried to convince him, Dirk wasn't moved. He gritted his teeth and didn't agree with her anything. Zi Yao had no ways to persuade him. After staying here for several days, she bid Dirk farewell. Before they left, Dirk pondered for a while and then slipped a ring off his finger, putting it on Zi Yao's palm carefully. This ring stores a lot of medicinal pellets I've refined. Many of them are good for you. I'm glad that you've come to see me. Although I can't promise you anything, I won't neglect you. Take it. No matter to build your force or to break into a new realm, you will need them. Zi Yao didn't reject. Her slender, jade-like fingers squeezed the ring, her eyes begrudging. Uncle, I know you want the best for me. Don't worry, I will take care of myself well. In the future, if I fail this battle for the throne, I will get back here to meet you. My place is always open for you. As long as you can come here, nothing will matter. Dirk smiled fondly. Your dad's a selfish scoundrel. He's done things only for himself. He will never appreciate or take into account the other's feeling. He won't take care of his family either. When someone dies for him, he will regret for a while, then continue to dip his head into what he calls a great endeavor. Pausing for a while, Dirk looked at Shi Yan for the first time. He frowned, talking with some hidden meanings. You shouldn't be as blind as your mother. Don't find a man like your father. If you do that and I find it, don't blame me. Whoever dares mistreat you, I will kill him. His eyes suddenly became terrifyingly sharp and cold, like a sword tip. Under his gaze, Shi Yan felt like he got so many swords placed at his neck. A chill was sent down his spine, as if he would be crushed in the next minute. Dangerous. Shuddering inwardly, Shi Yan confirmed immediately that this Dirk wasn't only a profound alchemist, but also a formidable warrior. Perhaps he was stronger than Delay. Under Dirk's threatening eyes, Shi Yan frowned. His eyes weren't fluttered, but like a rigid block of ice as a cold aura moved around his body. Calm and fearless. Dirk gazed at him without even blinking. After a while, he shifted his sharp eyes, talking calmly. Kid, I don't know who you are, but if you could come here, it's fate. This pellet is for you. Use it as you please. This pellet was verdant, with a fragrance that cheered people up. It sparkled with immense light as it flew toward Shi Yan. Enormous energy fluctuations rippled from that pellet, which clearly seemed amazing and with tremendous medicinal effects. Shi Yan could even hear water murmuring inside the pellet. Shi Yan gathered his spirit and surveyed the pellet. He saw a small leak, which looked like a miniature stream. It flowed naturally, circulating just like veins in a warrior's body. Zi Yao's beautiful eyes lit up as her succulent red lips parted. Shi Yan, say thank you. Shi Yan looked at the pellet and sensed its efficacy. His eyes shrank, but he didn't take the pellet. I appreciate your favor, precursor, but I can't take this pellet. Zi Yao was surprised. Dirk slightly knitted his eyebrows as his sharp eyes gazed at Shi Yan. He pondered for a few seconds. Then the corners of his mouth twitched into a faint smile. Kid, do you know what pellet it is? What are its effects? Shi Yan shook his head. I don't know. The 100 circulation soul pill, a level 4 divine grade pellet. It could nurture your god soul and supplement your blood chi. It's still a big treasure to a third sky of king god realm warrior. Dirk arched his brow. And you, when you take this pellet, breaking through the king god realm is just a piece of cake. Condensing the god bodies as easy as flipping a hand. As long as your realm could catch up with your energy and your Upanishad, you will soon enter the king god realm. This pellet will make countless warriors kill each other to gain it. Pausing for a while, Dirk snorted and then squinted his eyes. One more time, do you want it or not? No, thanks. Shi Yan shook his head, resolutely rejecting the offer. He didn't hesitate, and his eyes didn't shift. He continued faintly, without this 100 circulation soul pill, I'll still break through easily to the king god realm. I think condensing the god body shouldn't be dependent on external forces. It's the best way for it to happen naturally. Using pellets mean one doesn't believe in oneself. Along my cultivating path, I haven't depended on pellets to break through realms. You arrogant kid. Duck sneered. You got a shortcut, but you're stubborn. I can tell your achievement in the future will be limited. He turned to Ziyao. This cortege of yours is like a rock, arrogant and firm enough. His realm's high, but his pride isn't low. Harumph. Ziyao smiled, her beautiful eyes glaring at Shiryen as she said, tenderly, this man's always arrogant. Anyway, I think a man who dares to give up a pellet offered to him and wants to use his own power to break through shouldn't be a moron. He just has the absolute confidence. Of course, my follower is the latter kind. All right, not flexible at all, doesn't know how to seize a chance. I think he won't have a great achievement. Dirk waved his hand, taking back his pellet. He seemed not happy at all. All right, don't pretend in front of me. Don't you want to show off in front of Ziyao? I've seen many people like you. Du Tianji acted the same that year. Damn it, my sister liked this manner of his. So disgusting. It seemed he didn't have a good impression of Shiryen. After talking with a serious face, he urged impatiently, Go. The sort of man like you, if you don't taste bitter things, you won't know how high the sky is. To attract beauties, making oneself the odd one out was the trick many men used. In Dirk's eyes, Shiryen was this sort of a man, which he absolutely hated. That was why he didn't want to talk to him more. Shiryen shrugged indifferently and didn't explain anything. Princess Ziyao bid farewell to Dirk for a while. Eventually, she went with Shiryen back on the old route to the solar star exploding field. Later on, she stooped and chuckled. Are you like what my uncle said? You wanted to show that you are different? What do you think? Sure, Yen didn't change his visage, although the corners of his mouth twitched a little bit. I hope you aren't. To be honest, throughout many years, many people have tried to act in front of me. Your deeds and theirs are pretty similar. Ziyao laughed cheerily. If you're like them, I will be happy. At least, I can assure that my charm has never been reduced. Sorry to have failed you. Shiryen slight bowed to her, talking gently. I just don't want to own that man a favor, so he can't control me in the future. Perhaps he's self-righteous, as he thinks that no one is your match in this life. Anyone approaching you will have a purpose, to capture your glamour, for example. Interesting. A asterisk shoal. Ziyao gritted her teeth. Can't I really make you enchanted? Why could the others be, and you couldn't? Oh yeah, I'll borrow your words. Do you have health issues? She acted as if she suddenly understood a mystery, nodding and then saying affirmatively, Sure it is. I understand. I forgive you. I'm sorry for misunderstanding you. I'm so sorry. Shiryan's face darkened. Ziyao looked at him seriously for a while and then burst out laughing, holding her flat belly. She laughed until her body was shaking, pointing her finger at Shiryen. Ha. Interesting. You. Turns out there's something that makes you ridiculous. Look at you now. Shiryen paused for a while and then accelerated all of a sudden. Just like a shooting light, he glided, passing her while storming forward furiously. The silver bell jingles, like laughter arose behind him. Ziyao's face was bright and shining as if she were overjoyed. She waved her hands cheerily like she had done a great thing. She looked like a blooming flower that tickled people's hearts. Floating behind him, her laughter didn't cease, while her soft body shook tenderly. Her beautiful eyes gazed at Shiryan's buff back. She mused on him for a while before urging her power to follow him quickly. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.